I mean, I think RoboCop for
All right.
purists like go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, hello. Hey, I'm Dan. This is Chris.
Hey,
We're
what's up?
doing an informal kind of thing that I don't really have anything. Usually, I have stuff written down. I don't have anything written down. I don't have anything going. We were talking about RoboCop, so let's keep talking about RoboCop.
Yeah, I didn't really mind the remake because I mean I'm a big fan of the first one too, but I just kind of treat the two movies as pretty separate. I don't know, alternate universe kind of stuff. I know it's really not that great for a lot of the original fans and stuff, but yeah, I don't know. But at the same time, I'm very lenient on movies these days, I think.
Yeah. I'm never in the camp that like, oh man, they made this movie, so now it wrecks my image of the previous movie and stuff like that. Like, I mean, sure, whatever. They made another movie, that's fine. But I mean, I don't know. It's just if the point of RoboCop was like, the kind of satire of like violence and stuff like that, I just never got that with the new movie and stuff.
No, they kind of
It
dropped
just
that.
it just seemed
Yeah,
like a straight action movie. And okay, sure. I mean, that's fine. But I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of like with the GI Joe movies. It's like like why is it called GI Joe when they don't look like GI Joe and they're not doing any of the cool stuff that GI Joe does. It's basically just a a Transformer spin-off or something or
it's very
whatever.
confusing. It's like back in the day when I was really into Robotech, and then some other company got like the rights to the Macross movie and released it as something completely different. So
Yeah,
it was really bizarre because I'm seeing all of these characters, but they're named their original Japanese selves, but it's like extremely different with the same universe. But they didn't clarify any of that kind of shit. So I didn't know if it was remake or whatever. This is back in like what 1990. So I mean, they
yeah.
didn't have reboots back then, so I didn't know what the hell is going on. Now that we have like reboot like awareness, like GI Joe, I don't know why they did that. Was that just to get us in the theater? Like
Well,
to name it that? Like they could have named it something else, and it would have ended up as like a straight to DVD thing. I think.
yeah. I mean, it's I mean, they spend studios spend a lot of money on movies, so they tend to try to take the most safest route in making back all that money. So you know, if you have an established franchise that people already know and you don't have to explain what it is, when you're marketing and stuff like that, it's easier to do that than to make a whole new property that nobody knows that people might not go to.
They should. Well, okay. On that note, that's kind of cool. I don't know for some reason when you were talking about that, I thought of midichlorians.
Yeah.
Uh, but they should just make a whole spin-off like sitcom series about just midichlorians.
Oh gosh.
That'll be great. It'll be
Like
like
how
just
I mean,
like
it's like a super sympathetic look at midichlorians and like everybody hates them and stuff, and then at the end of the series, you're like, man, I really like midichlorians. They got a rough life.
well, I'm thinking we could go in a couple different directions. We could go like the IT crowd, where it's like this is pre-prequel Star Wars universe, where it's just this really like look down upon small obscure office of the Jedi Academy that is just having to handle midichlorian data.
Yeah.
And then those three guys just all of the humor busts out of that, and occasionally you get like Yoda come down and like bust their ass or something. Or the other thing we could do is there's this guy who's on Coruscant who find out he has like space cancer, and then he can't support his family, so he starts to make he's a super smart guy, so he starts to make this blue midichlorian shit, starts selling on the black market with his Jedi Academy dropout Jesse Spaceman.
Man, that midichlorian stuff is like, of all of the criticisms and the sins or whatever you want to call of the prequel, like all of that would have been forgiven, and it's a lot of it is actually passable. It just becomes more irritating when you think about it. But the midichlorians is really the unforgivable kind of thing, at least for me, because it's just like it's not mentioned at all in the
Yeah, afterwards.
original,
Yeah,
and
or but yeah, before, yeah.
and it's always treated, the force is always treated like a spiritual thing, and
Spiritual.
it's like, why do you have to put a number on it? Why is it there's like there's a count?
Maybe he was watching Dragon Ball right before that.
And the thing is that they didn't even like have the balls to like stay with that. Like in the sequels, they're like, oh crap, people really don't like this, we're just gonna ditch
Just
this, and
drop
it's
it,
just
yeah.
like, that's even worse. You
I would
introduced
have liked
this,
it,
and
but
there's
I
no
mean,
explanation for it.
at least if I would have been happier if they had taken that route with Jar Jar. Like if they had just dropped him without any, like you remember in The Matrix
Hmm.
Reloaded, it was like, where's our favorite guy, Tank? Oh, he just
He's not
um
here.
like I'm just gonna talk about him in the super third person and be like, I don't want you to end up like Tank. Like what
Yeah.
happened to Tank? I don't know.
Who's Tank?
It's just Link now.
Yeah.
Where's my puss? Hey.
Hey, I'm Link. I totally
That's right.
forgot about the tank. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, Tank was everybody's like super favorite operator. He's the operator by which like we were introduced to the world of the Matrix, and you totally
Yeah.
like he was so part of that family, and he didn't die, and we were all happy. And then, and he's super emotional. He's just jacked up about everything, and the next thing you know, it's just like sequel. Lawrence Fishburne's talking to somebody else. It might still be Link, we don't know, but or it might still be Tank, we don't know. And all this is just like, Link, I want you to stop pitching around and listen to me. Like, okay.
Did you like the other two Matrix movies?
I liked Reloaded for very weird reasons.
Yeah.
It
Was it
was the only
Revolutions
DVD.
was the last one?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
liked Reloaded because it was the only. It was one of two DVDs I had when I first moved to Japan, and I watched them like ad nauseum. So the other one was Lord of the Rings: Two Towers.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, so I mean, like my brain. So the first
The
time I got sick
middle
in
the
Japan,
middle the dark middle trilogy of the dark
yeah,
middle part of both trilogies.
for real. And
I
what
don't
had
know if
happened was,
Reloaded
I
is
think I
really that
got
good.
like I got I don't know, I got the flu like in my first 3 months in Japan, and I was just bedridden and delirious with a fever. And the same thing, shoot, like uh, I remember the first time I started watching Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and then I got the flu around that time too, and then I had like the Meat Wad song stuck in my head through my entire like fever dream. Um, I think I had the same dream about Reloaded, but I don't. That's not a good reason to like that movie anyway. But yeah, yeah, I liked Reloaded, but I did not. I wanted to like Revolution. Is that what it's called? Revolution,
I
right?
think it's
The
okay.
third
Let me
one.
look. Let me look at this. Let me look at this. Let me
That's
look
how
at
much I
this.
liked it. Like, like
I can't even remember much of what happens in the third one.
the third one was basically they're all fucked up,
Yeah,
and
Revolutions.
Neo found out that he can control shit in the real world too, which makes no sense. And then
Yeah.
it
Well,
turned into a philosophy lesson where
yeah.
Neo was Jesus, and then um, they had a Dragon Ball fight to fix it.
Yeah, which is the same as every fight in the Matrix, which is punch, punch, block, kick, punch, punch, block, kick.
Yeah, yeah, with giant, things
Every
happening, and
every martial arts was the same. I always say that there's some unfilmed sequel of the Matrix that takes place only in Hong Kong, like in the Matrix version of Hong Kong, featuring only like Asians and stuff, and it's
I
like
bet
the
you could find that.
craziest. It's the craziest Matrix because they're actually doing kung fu. Like it's fucking everybody's just like crazy. Like not even the computers go there. They're just like, yeah, we made that part of the Matrix. It was a mistake because they just kick our agents'
So
ass.
they just quarantined it and left it running,
Yeah, yeah.
like
It's just
on this lone desktop somewhere.
yeah, yeah. Because you saw like when that one Asian guy came in like part two, and he just kicked like he almost like beat up Neo, and Neo can like freaking rearrange the Matrix, and this guy who's nobody is like beating him up. Imagine if you were like actually in China, like
I
they're
don't want
fucking
to
going.
imagine that.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody's just flipping off all over the place, and fucking. I have a spear. I have a ladder. I have
That's
a
like the
coat.
shoot. I remember I was getting super bored with
King
Grand Theft
Jackie
Auto.
Kang.
I don't want to. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be there. Like
Yeah, Jackie Chan just kills agents like for fun with like ladders and pencils.
like everybody kills agents for fun. That's the
Yeah,
only way you can walk down the
yeah,
street.
yeah, yeah.
Like no, really. Like this
It's the
reminds me
only
of.
way I can feel alive.
I was really getting bored of Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and then I was just like, okay, let's look at the various cheat codes, and that's how you basically just turn this into a completely emergent, crazy experience. And I think I did like arm all civilians,
Hmm.
and then I made a special challenge. It was like try to get from one end of the map to the other on foot without dying. That
Yeah,
was that's what I'm imagining when I think of your Hong Kong Matrix world.
yeah. The Hong Kong Matrix world.
I never won, by the way. I never got all the way like through arm all civilians and then activate hostilities. Like I never made it because those the guys at
Yeah,
Rockstar were
they
very
get pretty
clever. They
crazy.
gave the grandmas rocket launchers, and they don't care where or when they fire it, so they're just killing people with
Yeah,
radiuses.
they're old already, so they're like, if I'm gonna go, grandma's gonna
Yeah,
go in an explosion.
actually, I want to play that now. I've been really stuck between which games to play recently, which is a horrible, horrible conundrum to have. Like where you feel like you want to play a game, but you look at all the games you have and you just don't want to play any of them, or you just can't decide.
It's
I don't know.
it's
Does
not
that
so
happen to
much
you?
that you don't want to play any of them. It's just that you're just kind of like, I don't know which one to play, so I'm not gonna do anything.
Yeah, that's been
Because
happening to me this
I
recently.
I get like that a lot with Netflix.
Ah,
Like
yeah, 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 yeah.
I spend more time adding things to my Netflix queue than actually watching things. Like when I sit down and I'm just like, okay, cool, I want to watch something, I got some time, and then I'm like, what do I want to watch? Oh, that looks cool, but I'm not in the mood for that. I'm gonna add that to the queue, and then it's like, oh, more suggestions. Oh, that's kind of cool. A documentary about butterflies. That sounds like something maybe I'd watch at some point. Okay, sure,
God,
whatever. I'll keep adding things, and it's like,
well,
and then it's
if
just
we're in
like, well,
confession mode,
I don't wanna. I don't wanna watch. Okay, fine. I'm not in the mood for anything. Whatever.
yeah, I know. It's like, well, I gotta go to bed in an hour.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and
I can't get involved in this series.
exactly. Or like even with a game, it's like Steam's been having, it's always having something on sale. So, like, it's like 11 p.m. I gotta go to bed in an hour just so that I can like function the next day correctly. And
Yeah.
then I'm looking at my library and I'm like, I haven't played like this game yet, but it's a giant ass RPG. You want to get into a game in an
Yeah.
hour before you go to bed. That's not gonna happen. Like, especially if it's a huge game like that. Like, I have a confession. I actually just started playing Dragon Age again. Like, I never got through it the first time I played it.
Yeah.
I don't understand what's up with that game. Everything's so damn expensive in that game. Like, or maybe just because I'm starting out. I don't know. It was like, oh, hi, I'm the quartermaster. You want to buy some stuff? Yeah, fuck, I want to buy some stuff.
Oh
It's an
yeah, yeah,
RPG.
yeah.
And then you get in there and you're like, why are all the prices redded out? You look at how much you have. You get like 9 silver. Like,
Did you ever play the sequel? I never played the sequel, but
oh no, I never bought the sequel because I didn't get past the first one. So
yeah.
I'm trying to give it another run through again. I was playing it on PC before, but that PC died, and I don't remember where my disc is and shit. So I just got it was cheap on PSN, so I got it again.
The thing I don't like in about Dragon Age Origins is that you go to the capital city and they're like, this is the capital city, it's all big time and everything like that. And then you're walking around and like there's barely anybody and the streets are like huge. So it's just like, who lives here? Like I'm literally like in a street that's like 10 houses wide. There's
And there's
houses
nobody hanging
and there's
around.
nobody walking around. That's kind of what happened with Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO that I played. It was just
Nobody
like
was
they made
around.
these, huh?
Nobody was there.
They no, they made these huge places, and there were people like playing the game, but like they made it so big that it felt empty. Where
Ah,
there's
it's like so wide.
yeah, it doesn't feel like a real place.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Maybe you were playing Second Life by accident.
no, there's a
Although
lot of
you would know
there's a
because you
lot of
would lag with
people.
yeah.
Yeah. I knew I wasn't playing Second Life because there wasn't a guy that was actually a plane, and uh, you know, I don't even know
Dude,
what that is. That guy's dancing and that guy's
one day,
flying.
me and my friends were talking about Second Life, and then my other friend. He goes, "Hey, you got to check out this video. It's this guy trolling in Second Life." So I look at it. He's trolling this kid who's like this muscle-bound black dude, and he's carrying a Gatling gun. And the kid with the Gatling gun is just like, "You better stop trolling me. You see what's in my hand?" And I looked closer at the Gatling gun. It was one of mine. It was
Oh,
one of
nice.
it was like, yeah. So I guess for those who don't know, I used to be Jin Schism on Second Life. I was in charge of Schism Industries, and I designed weapons on there of the sci-fi variety. And I made this free Gatling gun, and this kid who's getting trolled, he's just like trying to threaten the troll with a Gatling gun, which is scripted to only work in Second Life and doesn't actually defend against trolls. And actually, looking at the land that they were standing in, he couldn't have used it anyway. It's like no script enabled, so he was just like, "See what's in my hand?" Like, yeah, yeah, I feel bad. Oh, I did shut that down though. By the way, I don't know if I told you that.
Oh, you shut the whole business down?
It's gone. Like for the month of August, everything in my store was free, and like you could get it all in one package, and it included all the shit that I didn't even release. Like there's a bunch
Ah.
of stuff that like didn't even get to production yet. Like I made a Gears of War Lancer that
Hmm.
wasn't fully functional. Like the blades on the thing spun if you hit a certain thing, but it didn't do anything to anybody.
So why did you
So,
shut down?
let's see. A couple
You
reasons.
just don't
I
want
don't
to
have.
maintain it.
That's one big reason. Like I don't have time to do Second Life anymore. It's just a fact. I still get lots of cool ideas to build stuff, and I like, I love playing with Legos and Second Life, like kind of Lego-ish sort of stuff. I still love doing that, but I don't want to. How do you say this? It's hard to grow a business on that on Second Life,
Yeah, yeah.
because the thing is, the cost for me is essentially having land on the Second Life mainland to maintain a store, and that actually costs money. So like I wasn't bringing in enough profit to justify the cost of the land, which was about like, I don't know, like $40 a month.
It's real
And
life, real life.
yeah, it's real life. So the other thing too was, a lot of my products got hacked, so they were just getting distributed through Second Life for free anyway. So nobody was paying for my stuff.
Uh,
So, and the thing is, I don't want to seek legal action against that. It's going to basically cost more to do that than why do I get back anyway? So
I wonder how that whole thing is doing.
Second Life as a whole.
Yeah. I
Um,
wonder. I wonder.
it's funny, like the general public, when I talk to people about it, when I mention it, people are like, they talk about it as if it is dead. Like,
Yeah,
oh, I
I've
remember. Sec-
you're literally the only person I know in real life that has also played Second Life. Like
Interesting.
none of the people that I know. Actually I know a friend of a friend who actually worked for Linden Labs, I
Oh,
believe.
that's cool.
But that was a long time ago. That was like, like almost a decade ago probably or something.
It's hard to know what's up with Linden Labs and Second Life because, of course, their press releases are always going to put out the fact that they're doing okay, they're moving on to something different.
Of course.
That's probably true, but I don't. I personally get the feeling that Second Life was kind of just like slowly passing away.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think with all the hackers and like, it's just kind of past, it's not as innovative with like meeting people and all that stuff. I mean, you have like all this other video stuff and hangouts and chat roulette and all that stuff. I mean, even chat roulette isn't even a thing anymore, I think. But like all these things that keep coming out and stuff like that, and it's like, that's basically what Second Life was, a way to like, meet people on the internet and stuff like that,
it
coated
was.
in this veneer of like a video game and stuff. Well,
Yeah,
and
I
you can
mean,
also build a bunch of things, but I think maybe people get that through Minecraft now or something.
I think what happened. Yeah, Minecraft kind of
There's less
took a lot of
penises. There's a lot less penises in
the,
Minecraft,
the Minecraft thing happened, and
but there are
it's
still
funny because
penises in
a lot
Minecraft.
are there.
Well, you give
I never play.
people
I never play multiplayer. That's why I never.
if
I
you
never go
give
on servers.
people the opportunity to build anything,
It's a penis.
they're
Yeah,
gonna
like
well in the video game community, right? These are the things that people are gonna build in this order. They're gonna build Super Mario Brothers World 1-1, some kind of recreation, and then penis.
and then penis.
Yeah.
No, you ever notice nobody builds vaginas? A little
Well,
hard. Nobody knows what they look like, huh?
what are they? I would just think that like a penis is easier to form. Like it's more
I hope
simple.
none of you are turning in now, or I hope none of you guys are tuning in right now to this conversation, where it's just like I think a penis is easier to form.
Well, we're recording this first, and then maybe we can edit this because then
Okay,
I'll upload
just edit it, edit
upload
it so that it's just like it's like a penis remix.
it. Yeah.
The best thing. I don't know. Did you like Penis Revolutions? Yeah, like so much penis fighting.
Nah. You know what really doomed Star Wars, the new trilogy? Penis.
Penis.
It's like, what? Whoa, is there some kind of director's cut I didn't watch or something?
There's two different directions you can go with that: penis or vagina.
No,
Oh God. What were we talking about? Okay, Minecraft. Minecraft
Minecraft.
sort of like I think what happened was Minecraft did take a lot of the guys who out of Second Life who were really there for the sort of building aspect because
Yeah.
Minecraft is easier to build and you get a very satisfactory sort of discovery feeling out of Minecraft and digging around and finding things. Like I get thrilled when I find caves.
Oh
Like
yeah. Or when you're just digging something and it becomes like a bigger and bigger cave and it
Yeah.
just keeps on going and then you're like, I don't even know where I am.
Yeah, I don't know where I am. I hate and love that where it's just like this is
Oh, it's
complete
frightening.
frontier. Yeah. So I don't know how
It's
to get back
actually,
to my base
yeah.
camp.
You're basically just digging and jumping and just keep trying to dig in like some kind of like diagonal fashion to get
Yep,
up. And then you
that's
get
right.
out and you're like, wow, I'm only like 50 feet away from my base. That's weird.
All right. Yeah, actually, that's true. It's like you dig, and then as soon as you hear the chickens or the mooing, you're getting closer to the
You're like, I'm
surface.
almost home. Oh
Yeah,
god, I dug into my pool.
and then you oh yeah, I've dug into the ocean before, the
Yeah, I
ocean
dug
pit.
into the ocean.
Oh geez, and then like all of your torches get swept away. You're left in darkness. I mean, it's quite an experience. And then if you pop up on land, it's daytime. It's like super huge breath of fresh air, and I actually do like kind of like inhale when that happens and just jump right out of the pit. Find out I'm surrounded by chickens.
You
You know,
know, okay, this has been kind of on my mind for a lot for it's with Minecraft because well, they've been in the news recently because you know they're
but by
bought
Microsoft.
by Microsoft. But like you know, every time they have some kind of Minecraft thing, it's like, oh, you won't believe what kind of shit people made in Minecraft. Look at this thing. It's like your face, but like real time. Some kind of you know it's like Game of Thrones and mixed with like a model city of New York and this kind of thing, and it kind of like I mean, I know a lot of people work really hard on that, but I wish there used to be when I first started Minecraft, there was like a big like split in the community of people who used like programs to actually you know some kind of schematic to actually
Okay.
just make that thing in Minecraft because you can just have it like actually just build it like
Yeah, yeah.
if you have the schematics and stuff, if you have like the CAD designs or something. I forget. I never actually did. I don't know how people did it. And then there were
So
the
some kind
people.
of like
Yeah,
like mythological.
yeah. And then there's people
Yeah.
who there's a people who would build it by hand, but they would build it by hand with in creative mode with like unlimited resources or just you know unlimited blocks. You can just place whatever blocks you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
And then there were like the people who were just like, oh no, I do this by hand and I also craft everything. And I
So they
wish
were in survival mode then.
yeah, but whenever they show that stuff, like you know, whenever it's like clickbait on the internet, they never say like, there's never a distinction anymore. They just, I think everybody just assumes everybody just does everything with creative, and to me, that's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, one of the reasons why I kind of got out of Minecraft was I used to be on a server, and you were part of the server and stuff, and I was on the server with friends and
Oh
everything.
yeah. Scott and everybody, right?
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I ever played with you though, which is
No, I never. You
diff-
invited me to the group and you gave me the server login and stuff, but I never had time.
yeah, yeah. Um, but like we used to actually do stuff by hand, but then after a while we were just like, this is taking too long. We want to build like these super grand projects and stuff like that, like you know like Venice style canals and things like that. So we're just like, okay, we'll just turn on creative mode and we'll just like build stuff. And after a while, I got kind of bored of that because there was no sense of like accomplishment. Like
Yeah.
it was still kind of cool. Like I built like this huge like church and like you know we did
No, you
like
guys made some really humongous things.
yeah
I
we made
seen it on the
humongous things,
Facebook.
but it never felt like I actually made it. It was just like I was just painting it and
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah.
I see what you mean. I mean, actually, yeah, having limited resources makes you more creative. Like
Oh
even as a
yeah,
kid,
yeah.
yeah, just having only this many of this piece of Lego made you get really creative about how you went about doing something.
Yeah. And like it was also cool because you kind of did like tried to do things efficiently. It was just like, all right, I'm going to make this huge wall of furnaces and just dump coal in all of them and then I'm going to just dump like a big block a big like huge like I don't know how much stacks of like sand you can put in there or something. It's just like
Oh, just make a shit ton of
yeah,
glass.
I need a lot of
Yeah,
glass, so I'm just gonna fill every one of these to the brim with sand, and I'm gonna just come back in a couple hours or something, or like you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
It didn't take a couple hours, but you know,
It took a
um,
well, I mean, like I don't know, it took a whole day in Minecraft days.
oh yeah,
Like,
yeah, oh yeah, Minecraft days, yes,
I hated harvesting sand because they put it right by water, unless you're near a
yeah,
desert. Then it's just like I'm trying to harvest this goddamn sand and I'm getting flooded at the same time.
yeah.
Ugh.
cool ways on how to like make like massive like massive blocks of stone and stuff. Like I saw my friend had this trick. He probably learned it from the internet somewhere, where basically you just you kind of like fill in. You make like a big like square thing of uh like lava, and then you just throw like a bunch of water there, so it just kind of
Oh, it
just,
makes it obsidian.
yeah, it just makes it obsidian, so you just like have a huge obsidian like building
That's
or
tough.
something.
Well, you can probably do that in creative mode only, huh?
No,
Well,
I mean,
well,
if
because
if
like
you get the
because if it's
lava.
if it's a lava source and it gets hit by water, it'll turn into obsidian. If it's a flowing, like for example, if you have like one lava source, it's like spilling out in a bunch of different directions. Like
Yeah.
only the source will turn into obsidian if it's hit by water. The rest will just turn into cobblestone.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's what he did. He was making a big cobblestone like building or something. But it was just cool just to do that, like, because instead of like, well, I could just place a bunch of cobblestone. Because it got to the point where, I figured out how to actually like copy and paste like certain sections. Because you can actually select a bunch of blocks in creative mode, and you
But
can you can copy that and then paste it somewhere. You can even flip it
ah,
in different angles and stuff. So that's how people do a lot of that stuff.
I
Like
wonder because
I
like
like it's
yeah,
still there's
okay,
still a lot of skill involved. Like obviously, like placing
yeah.
blocks and everything, or even just making some kind of CAD design is still, that there's still a lot of skill in that, of course. But it's just kind of ruined it for me, like as a game, because I was just like, I mean, I'm not actually doing anything. Like
Mhm.
there's no consequence or something. And I wanted to do it that way. I wanted to do it creative mode way, because I was just like, this is taking too long. Like I built like this huge church that like by hand, with just mining and crafting every single piece of that church, and it felt really awesome. And I made bigger things, but they never felt as awesome as that church, because I made this big thing with a crypt underground that I intentionally made like dark, so that there was just always monsters in there. Yeah,
Oh,
you
okay.
go
So
to you
it would
go
spawn.
yeah, you go to the crypt underneath the altar, and there's just like fucking like big spiders and
Skeletons and
like, yeah,
zombies.
creepers and everything. It's just like,
Actually,
Jesus
if
Christ, don't
you
go down there. You're gonna blow up
were
the
it
church.
was it close enough to the surface where you could actually hear them like walking around and growling and stuff?
If you're in the right spot, yeah.
That's
I didn't
creepy.
I didn't I didn't I didn't design that way, but it just became that way.
God, I remember the first time I started playing Minecraft, I didn't know that monsters spawned in dark zones. So when I was haphazardly building my cave house,
Oh yeah.
I sealed up a portion of it apparently by accident that was just large enough for like something to spawn inside. And so for the longest time, I heard like zombie growlings coming from right by my bed for like a long time, and I didn't know where that was coming from. And apparently, the zombie had just been chilling there for like weeks on end.
I
Yeah.
I do wish that like there was a way for me to go back and like have a video of like my first like, fucking shack. My my little shack is just like, I don't even know what I'm doing. It's just like, how do I make more fire? I'm just standing
Oh
in the
God,
dark. I'm
God,
just
don't
standing in the
remind me.
dark. I'm standing in the
Oh,
dark, and then it's like, is it daytime yet? I'm gonna punch a hole in this dirt like wall. Oh God, there's fucking monsters out there. Okay, I'm gonna put this. I'm standing in the
I
dark here.
I burned my second house down in the attempt to clear the forest using lava.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that's always, yeah.
I I made a hole in the top of a tree in the middle, and I dumped lava inside, and it flowed over the tree because I didn't plan it correctly, and it went right onto the roof, and it was gone. I could not stop that happening. Yeah, I remember that. I remember wolves. I remember the first time I ever spawned in Minecraft, it was right by wolves. So I
Mm,
thought they were enemies. I didn't know that they were passive. So as
yeah.
soon as I got into the game, I started smacking one in the head, and the next thing you know, the wolves were all like, munching on my body. And I thought, I don't know, I don't see why this game is so awesome.
I think, man, imagine if we were like 8 years old and that game came out. Like, I don't think we would play. I mean, I've heard it in a couple of places where, you know, people say that it's actually like kind of killing that kind of game actually like hurts at least the industry in sales wise, because there's a lot of kids who they just play Minecraft. Like they don't really care about a new game. Like
Yeah,
you just play, like
that's
there's no point actually to, I mean there's no reason to play another game because that has everything that you want. I
mostly.
mean, especially as a young kid, like, you know, I can play with my friends online. We can get weapons and stuff. We can fight things. We can build stuff. We can explore.
Actually, on that note,
And it runs on
yeah,
every computer. I mean,
I think some of the most creative shit I've seen on Minecraft is the traps, like
oh, yeah, yeah.
just to prevent people from getting your stuff. I don't know, I don't understand exactly how it works because I don't ever played on the server, but like apparently there are certain servers that people can just visit publicly or something.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
is that
yeah.
why you need traps? Because I mean, like I figure if it's your own server, you're not going to invite some guy who's a bunghole into your server to steal your shit, right?
I think there's, you know, I've been out of that community for like a couple years, but there's servers where they even have like just mods on it where there's kind of like some kind of structured PvP, almost kind of like an MMO kind of thing.
Jeez.
Yeah. So and then you know there's stuff where yeah there's actual like rules and rule sets and stuff, and then yeah there's you can do that kind of thing. There's also, you know, you can also make traps just for the monsters and everything that are
Yeah, yeah. I've
outside.
seen like monster farms
Yeah.
that like monster farms that are focused around those cages, the spawn points, right?
Mm-hmm.
The dungeons or something. I've seen this guy made something called Industry Craft or something. It actually had like nuclear, like you could actually harvest down to plutonium and like make
Huh.
nuclear generators and stuff. Yeah. Or that 16-year-old kid who made a calculator in Minecraft and it was like as large as like so many like
Oh yeah, that stuff is crazy. I was never good at like manipulating or using
the
what
logic
is
and
it?
the circuits and
What
stuff.
is it? Yeah, the red wire or something. I forgot what it's
Yeah.
called.
The farthest I got was learning how to make a trapdoor that let things irrigate my plants.
Oh
But
yeah, I mean you could make simple things like, hey, this opens a door, or yeah,
yeah,
here's some water or something. But then after that, it's just like, I don't know what. I don't know how these circuits work.
actually, before I knew about compasses and maps, to find my way back home when I went roaming, I made it as high as I could go in the game. I made a huge tower of lava,
Oh
and
yeah, so you can see it from a distance.
yeah, especially at night too. And I remember getting vertigo actually just being on the top of that thing. Like, yeah, actually, you know what? After we get done here today, I'll probably play Minecraft. Probably what I'll do.
Just check it out for a little bit.
Dude, I haven't. There is no such thing. Yeah, I haven't played Minecraft since May. I think because I started getting chronic headaches. But I don't want to blame Minecraft for that. But
Hmm.
it might, that might be the reason.
So speaking of games, all right, let's get down to business. 30 minutes into this video
Yeah. Okay.
podcast.
Okay. Speaking of games, how hard is it to form a penis?
Well, not too hard because a lot of things look like a penis, really. I mean, this pen looks like a penis.
I saw somebody make like the.
Joysticks used to be fashioned after penises.
That's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
it's
And you would manipulate one just like a real penis.
yeah,
Yep.
quarter
The
circle, and I throw fireballs.
Did you see that video where it was like the guy was in a helicopter in Battlefield or something, and then they like to set off all these sequence charges, and it made a penis outline from the sky.
Like in real life or
No, no,
in a
no.
game? Battlefield.
Okay. In I think it was Battlefield.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen those. I
Uh,
have seen those as well.
so I mean, like, despite all of that happening, without anyone telling anybody to do those things, and to just come from the subconscious or somewhere, you know, like I still contend that my field of study is something that leads to more than penises, you know, more
Yes,
than just penises. I'm not
more
going to deny penises are part of that.
more penis. No, more than penis.
Yeah, yeah, more than meets the penis.
More than meets the penis. Yeah. So you had an
You're gonna have to
Indiegogo
edit
thing
this.
that. No, everything is raw and uncut. We have not said anything bad. We've said worse things. That's why we steered it away from Second Life too, because we can't keep talking about Second Life without getting
But
really bad.
yeah, that's true. That's
Like
true.
there's
Yeah, you're right. You kind of kept it on
even
the PG
mentioning
side
it
of
even
things.
mentioning it is bad too.
God,
Like
man, I've got some stories about how I've been logged off.
yeah, I don't know. We'd have to have like a NC-17 version of Infinite Lives that's
Man,
like
yeah.
that's all of our voices are altered and stuff like that, and we never say
Oh,
each other's names.
just like the '80s show, Unsolved Mysteries, where they'd have like a woman's outline in the shadow, and she'd be talking with an ogre voice.
Yeah. One time in Second
Yeah,
Life,
yeah, yeah.
I logged on. I
Forces
still,
invert,
I,
as far as the eye can see.
I still like my analogy of Second Life that it is the exact inverse of real life, where things that are like deal with normal commerce, like buying clothes, or you don't buy food, but those kind of things, home improvement stuff, those things are scarce. Those stores are scarce. Where
Yeah, yeah,
but the pornography or sex toys or any kind of dealing with sex or eroticism is
yep.
like plentiful.
Oh yeah,
So yeah, instead of having like one adult store, per 100 Safeways, it's the exact opposite,
the
if not
opposite.
more. If not more.
It's like you're driving down the street and then you see a Safeway. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh man, I didn't know it was this kind of neighborhood. It's like, man, you'd think they have a home improvement
And
here
yeah, in your back of
or
your
Home
mind,
Depot.
you're saying like, oh yeah, what an awful thing. In the back of your mind, being like, I'm gonna go to Safeway later.
Yeah, I really want to go to Safeway, see if they
Yeah,
got some roasted
when
chicken.
when everyone's like in bed,
Yeah, yeah.
just watching.
They got like all of the windows are painted over, like you can't see inside.
Oh my god.
One time in
Oh,
Second Life, one time in Second Life, I logged on and well,
that'll be dude. It's Bane.
yeah. Oh, Second Life. One time I bought 3 penises and I used them. I had a horse head and then I changed into a boat. Wasn't there a period where everybody was like boat eroticism was like a thing? Cause
Boat eroticism.
yeah,
Like a
cause I was in Second Life and I just saw people and they were like boats, like old pirate ship boats.
what the hell?
And they're
Uh,
dancing as boats, and I was just like,
okay.
"What's going on?" It's like you got to get in on this. I'm just like,
I
"I'm
heard
good."
something. I heard something that I can't. Well, I heard. Well, this is from a really good friend of mine, so I guess I don't want to I don't want to not believe my good friend, but
Okay, okay.
what I had heard was that the biggest thing in Second Life about a couple months before I quit, so earlier this year,
Hmm.
was that there were these like horses that you could breed, and they were like these fully AI autonomous horses that would breed, and then you could breed special, like, I don't know, there was some AI to them, to the script, that basically made it so that there was actual genetic randomness to the next horse that would come out of like two horses doing it. And these special breed horses were selling for ridiculous ass amounts that were like on the tens of thousands of dollars in real life,
Hmm.
and people were making a living breeding these digital ass fake horses. Now, I don't know how much of a right I have to make fun of that, because I was dealing in fake weapons,
Yeah.
but I didn't make that much damn money. Like,
Oh yeah.
uh,
There's one of the a good article is on Cracked. They have like an old article about like the 6 most valuable things ever sold, like in an MMO or something like that, and there were like, yeah, I think there's some game. I want to say it's RuneScape, but I might be wrong. But yeah, there was like some kind of pink hat that was extremely rare that was just worth like hundreds of dollars, because it was just like there was like 1 or 2 in the entire server or something like that, and people were
oh,
just going mad about it. It's nuts.
yeah,
It's
there's
nuts.
kind of a
People are
pink hat.
nuts.
So what does it do? Does it offer
Nothing.
any?
It's a hat. It just you put it on. It looks kind of dumb too. I seen a picture of it.
Huh.
It's just a hat. It's just like, what does a diamond do?
Well, yeah, no. Well, diamonds don't. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I
Man, we
can't
can
answer
make
that.
lasers with them, like in GI Joe or no, like in Ducktales, and then we can like boil the water so we get enough steam so the big diamond shoots out of the cave, and Bubba Trubba now lives with Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, I don't remember that episode.
Yeah,
I'm gonna check it out again.
it's in the latter run of DuckTales when it wasn't as good because they had
Oh,
too
so
much Bubba.
I don't even know who the fuck Bubba is.
That's the caveman duck. You
Okay,
don't
I must
remember?
not have been. I must not have been watching it already.
See,
I
yeah. See, it fell off already. I had
That's
to
like
see it
when
to the
that's like
end.
when the real Ghostbusters just turned into Slimer, the
Yeah,
show.
Slimer and the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and it was awful because it was just these adventures with Slimer and some unknown cat that was his enemy. And there were no more cool stories about ancient ghosts that the Ghostbusters were fighting with Peter Venkman humor.
Have you
Now
ever
it's just
have
yeah,
you
what's
ever
up?
seen the other cartoon Ghostbusters? The reason why they had to
E-
call that the real
yeah, I
Ghostbusters?
saw that one. In
Yeah,
fact,
it
my
wasn't so
mom,
great.
I felt bad. I think my mom actually got me a Ghostbusters costume, and when I saw it as a kid, I was like, "That ain't the Ghostbusters." Like,
Oh,
yeah, I know. I mean, of course, now that I'm old enough to understand how awful and dickheaded like a thing to say that is, But as a
uh,
kid, I was just like, "What? What?"
it was like the time when my aunt gave me for Christmas a Bebop figure from Ninja Turtles, and like as soon as I opened the package, I was like, oh, I already had this. Oh, my mom
Thanks.
gave me an earful.
Well, you get two bebops
So I
now.
got two Bebops. So that became part of the story. There was good Bebop and bad Bebop.
Oh, that's cool.
And
Okay, all
and
right.
then later on, it was revealed that good Bebop was actually still bad Bebop, and then he betrayed the turtles. So the two Bebops were fighting the turtles. It was a pretty big story. And then
Did you have all the
kept
turtles?
I had I had all four of the turtles. I had a pretty good turtles collection. I think I had all four. I had two Raphaels at one point because the very early versions of the Ninja Turtles, they would come with like these smushy heads. Like they had like
I
rubber
remember that.
heads,
Yeah, yeah.
and
You could
then
press them down.
yeah, and they would actually get stuck like that. It was really bad. So I would get really like upset because I'm just like, oh my god, Raphael's head is all jacked up. And then eventually like they became all plastic. So I got another Donatello and another Raphael to get the plastic head turtles. And
I
then
remember.
I had
Yeah.
Splinter. I
Oh, you had
had
Splinter? Damn.
I had Splinter. I had Casey Jones. I had Bebop and Rocksteady. I had one Foot Soldier who
Well, he got his
uh,
ass kicked all the time. I
oh
bet.
yeah, I eventually made him Lord Foot Soldier or King of Foot Soldiers or something, and then the GI Joes would fill in as the other Foot Soldiers, even though they were not to scale, of course. But I mean,
That's
little
actually kind of
you
if
have
I think
you
about
have
that, it's really frightening,
imagination. Yeah, you
dude.
have
That's frightening. It's like
imagination.
these guys that are midgets, but they're not proportioned like midgets, and they're actually like kind of muscular with guns.
Oh,
Yeah, that's frightening.
I had a Shredder who his leg fell off because we were playing Ninja Turtle bowling,
Okay.
which consisted of setting up all of the figures and taking one figure and throwing them at the other figures.
It's what you're
So
supposed to do.
yeah, so
Yeah.
Shredder's leg came off with that ball and socket joint actually stuck in the leg, so it actually
Oh, so it
snapped
was
off.
broken, so
Yeah,
you
it was
couldn't snap
broken,
it back
broken.
on. Okay.
So I would always put his cape over it, and he would always be sitting down. Like he would never actually fight. Like that was just. It is so dumb, right? It's because I'm just using imagination. I was like, well, I can't have him stand up because everybody would notice that he'd only have one leg. It's like I'm the only one playing here.
He'd be like, "Sorry, turtles, it's
Yeah,
awkward."
yeah. Sorry,
I
man.
remember the back of the packaging actually had like stats on turtles, and it would tell the hardness. It would link it the hardness of their shell to something.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
remember like one of the turtles had like it was like hardened chewing gum was like the consistency of his shell, and I was like, that's kind of lame.
Oh,
I
oh,
mean, I know,
oh, yeah. Go ahead, go ahead.
no, no, no. I mean,
Consistency
I
of
just
chewing gum.
that's yeah. I mean, do you remember that? Like, I don't remember which turtle that was, but I just thought, what a pitiful ass turtle. Because I mean, I know that hardened chewing gum's kind of hard, but
Yeah, yeah. I was
the other
always
one's
kind
kind
of
of
disappointed with their weapons because their
like
weapons were always like it was just one color and it was just.
I remember the was Donatello. Well, Michelangelo actually was the hardest because he had this belt where the belt loops were like smaller than like
Oh
it took
yeah.
a lot of forcing to get the nunchucks in there, and then it was like, okay, let's play with the toy now, right? Okay, okay, Michelangelo, hurry up, get into the battle. Hold on, you guys.
Eh.
Let
By
me
the time
actually
you take it out, like his belt thing is like all over his
Yeah, yeah.
head.
I
I'm just
actually
like,
just took
what?
his. I straight up took his clothes off. Like I was just like, give me this goddamn belt, like harness thing, and I'm like,
Then of course it
after this
snaps because
you're ready. Yeah,
it's like the worst designed. I mean, I don't know what else they could have done to make it better, but maybe have a rope in between two pieces of plastic, like a little
the
string.
best. I think the best toy that came out of that entire line was the pizza shooter. Like, remember that?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
thing was fucking dangerous. Like those pizzas really flew long and hard. Like you could
So
take it off of the tank treads and just run around with it as a gun.
So I had a Michelangelo nunchuck that had a huge glob of super glue on one end because one of the nunchucks snapped off. So it was just you put enough super glue around it and it became like this big glob. Um, and then also Usagi Yojimbo had super glue on his ears because it snapped off at one point. So he just had his ears and it was kind of a little bit off center and there was just like a glob of super glue like all over his head. It's because I was the one who did it. Yeah, Usagi Yojimbo. That was a good figure, Usagi
Was
Yojimbo.
it? I never had that one.
Because he had like the samurai armor plates and stuff. Only in
It
certain
plates?
sections. Only in
Damn.
certain sections.
I just
And
remember. I mean, I don't remember. Did he come out on the cartoon too? I know he had
I
his own
wanna
comic, same guys,
say
right?
no,
Same
not the same
universe?
guys. It's a different guy.
Oh,
It's a
really?
different universe altogether. Stan Sakai. This
Where are they related then? Like they're somehow they're
because
like.
they were both small underground indie guys,
Oh, okay.
and they eventually just did a crossover. Because even uh, there's this other comic that was in the Ninja Turtles original comic called Cerebus, which is
Huh.
Cerebus the Aardvark, which is like a fantasy comic, which is a pretty good comic until like later on because the guy got too weirdly like he got like weird like opinions on I think like fascism or something. But the early
Huh.
stuff was really good. But anyway, he was in the Turtles universe at one point too. Because yeah, I think I want to say that it was like a lot of like those smaller like indie guys in the 80s. They would do
Okay.
crossover stuff because
Yeah,
they
that's
were
how
just
you
making these
co-promote.
small books. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There was a whole Usagi Yojimbo like storyline in the Usagi Yojimbo comics where I think one of the Ninja Turtles got teleported to ancient Japan or something, which is
That's
which
the plot of part two.
yeah, a three.
Oh, no, it's three. Yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
three. Did you see the new one, the Michael Bay one?
No, I don't
Yeah, I
like
didn't
how they
either.
look.
I don't actually think it was. I don't think it came out in the Japan yet, or I didn't hear anything about it at all out here.
It's one of those things where like after that CG movie came out, I saw that CG movie in the theater and it was okay. And then I was trying to watch like some of the cartoons and I was just like I used to be one of the biggest Ninja Turtle fans and I think this is just one of those things that just it existed when it did and maybe that's just how it should be like I mean, when they were first kind of bringing stuff back, like with the cartoon and everything, I was like, "Oh, this is awesome! I can watch Ninja Turtles again. Maybe they'll like be more like the comic and stuff, like really serious and stuff like that." And then after a while, it's just like I don't know. Maybe it just existed then. It was an '80s thing. Like even like all of the references and stuff were.
Like even well, I mean, Turtles was really the first like thing to come out in that fashion that really set off this whole trend of like mutant animal superhero things. Like we got Street Sharks after that. We
Street
got
Sharks,
what else? Battletoads,
SWAT Cats.
SWAT Cats. Thank you, Dinosaurs.
I want to say Dinosaurs is before Turtles.
Oh no, yeah,
Actually, I
you're
don't
right. You're
know.
right. It is. No, I think no, that's right
They
because
weren't really mutants.
Turtles.
They were aliens.
Well, actually, maybe that was okay. I shouldn't put Dino anything in with that because there
Yeah.
was a time period where there was a lot of Dino
Denver
sci-fi
the Last
stuff.
Dinosaur.
Well, not that though.
Denver the Last Dinosaur.
Dinosaur.
He's
He's
my
my friend
and a
and a
whole
whole
lot
lot.
more. I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna sing it.
He's well. It sounds awfully like sexually ambiguous now that we're older. But
Oh, of course. I mean,
it's like
maybe he just
meet
does
a
their
strange
taxes
pot-bellied
too.
fellow who's your friend and a whole lot more. You got to
So
keep him a secret from the society.
yeah.
He
What do
lives
you
in a tar shell.
what do you mean he's a whole lot more? Oh, he's just like my dad's accountant. He's my dad's accountant. He does his
Sometimes he comes
taxes.
over and plays.
Yeah, sometimes he comes over and plays, but usually they just they do
He brings
taxes.
over this thing called black tar, and we stare at it and see things.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. The dinosaurs were aliens from a different planet, and they came
So
to
the
Earth.
dinosaurs on Earth were like descendants of the alien. or something like that.
I don't know. I never got
I'm
that
gonna have to
deep in
look it
the
up
lore.
again. Was there lore?
There's always lore. There's always lore somewhere.
Because there was that, and there was Dino Riders, which was also like what had happened
Oh,
was Dino Riders was humans from the future had traveled into the dinosaur past to escape the tyranny of the future, but the tyrannical people came back and they used their mind control brain boxes on the dinosaurs to harness their
oh
power. And
fuck
then
me.
remember that? And then
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
good guys were like using all of their I don't know like talking power to
yeah,
talk the
yeah, yeah,
dinosaurs into
yeah.
helping them. And then there was this really surly character in the good guys side. It was the same. It was Peter Cullen. It was freaking Optimus Prime. So I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
listening to Optimus Prime be an asshole, like in this cartoon.
We had great cartoons.
We did. We did. Dinosaurs had like I didn't really like the show too much, but the theme song really got my blood going.
Yeah.
It's like full on '80s hair metal Dinosaurs. There wasn't like hardly any lyrics to that. It was just like celebrating the name
Yeah, it
Dinosaurs
was
to
like
heavy metal guitars.
dinosaurs.
Yeah. Like I didn't know what this show was about. I don't care.
Dinosaurs.
All I know is I'm in.
Yeah, and
I'm
then you're like,
totally
oh
in.
man, I want to get those dinosaurs. What's a
Yeah, so I mean,
dinosaur? I don't know. I don't know. It keeps yelling
it's
it at me, so I have to
it's
get it.
some kind of thing where, and then like it was like the bad guy is a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and the leader of the good guys is also a kind of Rex, where he's an Allosaurus. So it's Allo is his name, which sounds
Hmm.
really not so menacing. And
And so yeah, Usagi Yojimbo was actually the original Usagi Yojimbo comics are pretty good too. It's written by a guy named Stan Sakai. I believe he's a Hawaii guy too, or at least he lived in Hawaii at some point. But those are
everyone did.
good. Those are good comics because it was weird because he was in ancient Japan or like medieval Japan, and I think he was the only rabbit.
So everyone else a human.
Yeah, so everybody else was human except for some people too, and there was like I don't think there was any real explanation, but I
So
think
it's always
people.
been that way.
Yeah,
Like
it's
there's
always been
just
that
been kind of
way.
weird these animal people around somewhere.
Yeah, I want to say yeah. I don't remember.
Look it
And
up later.
he was kind of like like a Yojimbo, like the Akira
Yeah.
Kurosawa Yojimbo. He was a
Yeah.
little surly and stuff like that. That's always cool.
I remember you're the guy who told me what the real Ninja Turtle comics were like because I
Oh
only knew
yeah,
the cartoon, and I was just like, yeah, I want the Ninja Turtles to be like all fun loving and pizza eating and just and
it's
you
like
were like
no
no
man,
Chris,
they
no
drink
you don't know
beer.
they killed yeah that was the thing you were like they drank beer. This was back when we were in high school, so it was like they drank beer and I was like whoa beer
They
that means
killed
they're
people.
like almost criminals.
Dude, the first 5 pages of the first Ninja Turtles comic is them fighting like a gang. Like they're cornered, and then the gang's like, "We're gonna take out you fucking freaks" or something like that, and they're just like, "Come and get it." They're just like, we're gonna cut these people up."
Yeah, I mean you got a cartoon where the leader has two fucking swords
Yeah, yeah.
and he never slices anyone ever.
Oh, it messed me up when somebody said that. Oh yeah, go back and watch Ninja Turtles the movie part 2. They don't use their weapons
Oh yeah, they don't.
for
They
any
don't.
fighting. And I was just like, "What? Are you serious?" And then, yeah, sure enough, I was just like, "This is
It's just all
awful."
for gags and for like mechanical, like situational kind of stuff.
Man, I thought
Cutting
that movie.
pizzas.
Man, I was so excited about that movie. It had Vanilla Ice in it.
Yeah,
It made
I
it
mean,
cool.
yeah, at the time nobody knew. It's just like back in '99, the
Oh,
summer of '99, no one knew Limp Bizkit was not good. You know, like we all figured it out after summer finished, and it was just like, wait a minute, wait, what?
yeah, we used to listen to that album like front to
Hell
back,
yeah,
man.
front to back, man. Significant other, like all the way through. And when it got to Nookie, the whole car would rock because
Even
we were
even
all going crazy.
even the weird like hidden tracks with.
Yeah,
Man,
we're just
remember hidden
talking or
tracks?
yeah, I remember Hidden Tracks because that
That's
was the shit.
total.
And then Korn flipped it all on its head by putting the first track of their album on track 13.
Oh,
Remember that? It was
yes.
like it was Follow the
Didn't
Leader was the
Tool
album.
do that too or something?
I
There was like a
think
weird thing where it kept like like the track numbers would accelerate or something. I
I
forget.
I don't know because I've never had a Tool album.
I never had a Tool
Um,
album too.
I've always kind of just had bits and pieces of their work on
Yeah.
iTunes. But yeah,
Yeah,
I just
that's
remember.
one of those old fogey things that we're gonna be like, hey, remember hidden tracks?
What?
Remember
Or like,
Offspring's
oh,
hidden track? Because
remember,
there's no hidden
remember,
tracks
dude,
anymore.
Less Than Jake. the CD would start at a certain point, and you had to actually manually rewind the CD to hear the whole story. Remember?
Yeah.
That was crazy. And then finally you get to this is the old dude, Harry J. Reynolds.
Yeah.
Listen, less than Jake.
Yeah,
You
there's no
guys,
hidden
yeah,
tracks anymore.
you
It's
guys
just
don't know
it's
less than Jake. You
files.
got to check it out. Yeah, it's
Unless
wild.
unless I give you like hidden files or something, I don't think
I
people
don't
would
know how
do
to
it.
do.
I
Yeah,
don't think that would. Yeah, it's like I downloaded it and I was like, "Where's all the tracks?"
I still listen to. I still got Nokia on my iPod. What else do I have? I got Rollin' because despite the fact that it's a total culture song, it is actually kind of pumping up kind of song.
Yeah.
What else?
Rolling,
I got.
rolling, rolling, rolling. What?
I I actually ditched all of the corn. Like on my current iPod, I don't have any Corn singles except for, and it wasn't a single. It was just one of those like off tracks that you find on the album. I have Justin, which I don't know if you know that song. It's like Time for Deep Space.
Huh?
Like
I don't
okay,
remember.
forget it. Yeah, I would sing it for you, but it would sound
You,
really off without the music.
you,
So forget it.
you gotta write that to me on like Facebook or something, and I'll look at it, and
Forget,
maybe I'll remember.
I'll get you the YouTube link. I mean, YouTube's kind of convenient for that kind of shit these days.
Oh yeah, it's like the best.
Remember this song, except for freaking Sunburn, Spread
I
So Thin.
know.
It's not on.
I did
That's not on
find,
YouTube.
you know, when you sent me that, I did find that like a number of months ago, and then I forgot about it, and then I forgot how to get to it. So
Oh,
it
you
was
did?
great. Yeah, because it's on their like MySpace or something, right? Or something
Yeah,
like that.
it's MySpace. So,
Yeah.
like, I
There's a
don't know what became of that
mountain
band.
of my life.
That was a really good. So I bought the whole album when it came out because that song was awesome. And the rest of the album wasn't that great.
Yeah, I remember you told me it's like, man,
Don't bother. Yeah,
yeah.
because that was the day. Those were back
And
in
it's
the
like
days
the
when we had
first.
to spend our album money really carefully.
Yep. Because they were expensive. It was like $14 if you were lucky, but most
I got
stuff
so
were
mad
20.
at you because we found that used music store by it used to be by Tower Records and
Yeah.
all of by KFC. We found that place and it was like that was the awesomest place ever. And I got mad because you got Transistor by 311
Yeah.
and I got All the Pain Money Can Buy by Fastball. And I mean that had
Fastball.
some good songs on it too,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Transistor was a way better album. So it's like, oh,
Man, remember? Yeah, you know, it's so crazy that like a store like that would like not exist, like 0.0 chance percent that it would exist. Like it's yeah,
yeah.
because even like even in Seattle, there's a couple like big, you know, established record stores or just music stores, whatever. That
Do you guys
just
have Rasputins or Amoebas? Those are the I don't know. Those are the two big ones that were in San Francisco area.
No, there's like local ones. I forget. There's one in like north of downtown. I forgot what it's called. Because I'm bad at this. But like even these ones that are like super established in like Seattle, which is, you know, would support that kind of stuff. Those guys are having a hard time up to now.
Yeah.
Like
I can see that.
That's never gonna like become like a, you know, it's never gonna become better, which is kind of sucks.
It totally does. I don't know what's happening.
You know, I don't even do that anymore anyway. So like, you know, I'm
Yeah.
part of the problem too.
It kind of sucks because we both appreciate that culture, but it's it's gone because we don't even want to support it anymore.
Yeah, because it's so much easier and quicker and faster and cheaper just to be like, oh, hey, these are Amazon things. I just searched for this. Okay, now it's in my computer.
It's actually ridiculously insane now. This is what I do now. I'm hanging out in the store in Japan somewhere, and I'll hear a catchy song like over the PA. And I'll just turn on SoundHound. It'll look it up for me, and then the button's right there, buy on iTunes, right there. Okay, now I got the song for $1.30, and it's in my playlist right this minute within 30 seconds. It's insane.
Yeah, remember how much time we'd spend like at Tower Records?
Yeah, I remember getting kicked out of I got kicked out of Sam Goody because for some reason they just didn't trust me.
Yeah, it was messed up. We go to Tower Records and like look through everything there, and like talk about stuff, and then like make fun of the Jennifer Love Hewitt album, or something, right? And then we'd go to like the mall and then go to Sam Goody's and look through all of their stuff and be like, hey, maybe I'll buy this shirt someday.
Do you remember we used to do that? That was one among many things that we would occupy our weekend days with.
Yeah.
Somehow we were able to do this because nowadays it's like, okay, well, between work and whatever else we need to do, I don't exactly know how to kill time anymore. I don't know if that makes sense, but Like
Yeah,
we
I
could
mean,
do that.
my time killing is just video games now,
I mean, that's good enough. I mean,
and
that's
doing
actually
stuff
pretty
like
good.
this.
So, yeah, yeah. Well, this is good stuff that you guys are doing. I'm really like I told you, like part of we're probably like half of the reason why the four of us decided to try and do a podcast is because we just kept bringing up Infinite Lives. It was like, look at what they're doing. They're doing a good job. They're they're meaningfully profuse with their material, which means that they're consistent and they're doing exactly what they want to do. They're talking exactly about what they want to talk about. And basically, if people want to listen to that, great, you know?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, well, shoot, we could do the same thing with the stuff that we want to talk about, and so we're just trying to get that off the ground right now. But
Yeah, stuff is just so easy. I mean, you have, we were lamenting like the death of the record store, but other stuff has become like easier to do where you can actually create things and record them and distribute it
that's
all,
right.
within the next hour. If you wanted to create something new, all you actually
Independent
have to do is
productions.
actually
Yeah.
do it. And
Yep.
all the tools are there, and almost all the tools are free.
Yep.
I mean, I think, outside of buying like equipment and stuff like that, the only stuff we've ever bought, like, outside of equipment and computers and stuff like that, is just like, we have a XSplit
Like,
license for one of the live
okay.
streaming stuff that we have.
So like hosting and stuff like that, like maybe like storage space online, cloud
Oh
services,
yeah,
something.
yeah, I guess that. I bought this Skype recorder thing for like $30 because it seemed like the only thing that seemed to work.
Mm, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I have like a subscription to Adobe Premiere, like a monthly subscription, just so that, because I just hated all of the free like video editing stuff that I found. So I was just like, I'll just pay for something. So
I
at
had the
least,
same problem when I was trying to make my Indiegogo videos because I was like, this, like all the free stuff is just awful.
yeah.
Um,
Like I'm pretty sure
and
there's some kind of secret program somewhere that somebody knows about that's like the best thing ever, but I never found it. So
well, I don't know. I really think so too because I did a pretty comprehensive survey of like, because I didn't want to spend money on video editing stuff just for this one
hmm
month. But in the end, I buckled and I spent $60 on what is it that I have here
like
have here. But
so
you know what though, it isn't a video pad. I bought a video pad, and that was an investment too
yeah,
though
yeah.
because I mean I was like, you know what? After doing weekly video updates for my Indiegogo, I just realized, you know what? I should just keep this fucking shit up because like
Yeah, yeah,
this
definitely.
is yeah, this is a good way to just kind of like even when I have to go back and do my own dissertation like later on,
hmm
it'll be a good record that I can reference back and be like, oh, okay, so this is what I was thinking about at this time, or this is where I got this bit of information, because we just forget.
And
So,
it's also, I mean, if anything, it's a creative outlet. Like,
mm,
like I've always said with Infinite Lives, like, despite, I mean, whatever it becomes, it becomes. If it only stays a hobby forever, which is probably likely, like that's totally cool too. I mean, a lot of it is just kind of a creative outlet because you know, uh, everyday jobs and stuff like that all of us have. A lot of times, it's not something that we get to do something that we actually like doing. I mean,
yeah, and I think everybody needs that in their life a little
yeah.
bit, a little bit. Everyone has to have a little bit of that. Like you're doing something creative for yourself that you want to do,
hmm
and I think I'm trying to do that too much though. Like I think I get enough of that in my research. So like when I'm trying to do this indie games type stuff, well, inherently speaking,
Yeah.
doing PhD research in and of itself
Yeah.
is like pretty much one lifetime, like one daily lifetime's worth of like time commitment and effort. Making indie games is pretty much the same thing. Like it's tough. You really got to work your ass off to make this game or whatever game you're making. And so me trying to do both is really starting to rear its ugly head now, or we're really stalled in development hell on the game. The reason being is because both me and Young are PhD students, and it just so happened that right now our research picked up, which is good. But there's only two of us who are the main guys for this game, so pretty much it's like kind of just stuck for now. But I want to make this project that we're working on for the podcast, I want that to be much more regular. And for us, regular being like that we're four people in different time zones doing different stuff,
hmm
just once a month. If we just do a once a month show for now, and if it picks up and we do twice a month, that's about as much as I'm willing to do,
Yeah.
unless it becomes super something else. I don't know. but
I
I
did
wanna.
talk to the guys. I mean, maybe this is too much inside baseball or something, but I mean, I did talk to the other guys, and they were, everybody was like pretty excited about you know, if you want us to host the podcast, so you guys don't have to have your own website or something like that. That would be
Yeah,
great.
I think
And yeah,
like
if you wanna, and like yeah, and always an invitation if you wanna contribute, um,
I do. I
written
want to
word,
contribute.
or
Yeah, I
even
want to
actually
start
any of the
writing.
guys too. I mean, I should send them a message to like Thomas and Jonathan. And I never met your fourth person in your
Oh,
cabal.
Rochelle. Yeah,
Did you
she's. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
did you guys ever come up with a name of your cabal? I like
God, let
cabal.
me. Yeah, Cabal. That's the
Like
guy from Mortal Kombat 3 and the name of a group.
and the name of a game.
Seriously? What game is that?
Cabal. You're a jeep and you're shooting stuff.
A
It's like
Jeep?
it's like a Akari Warriors except you're a jeep.
What the?
I'm not joking. It was made by Konami. It's great. It's a great game. It's a great
Yeah,
game.
I'm gonna look it up later. Let
Cabal
me
game.
to answer your question. We have not
Oh
decided
no,
the name. We're
I am not. I'm thinking of a different. Thinking of a wrong game.
what is Cabal? Is Cabal weirder?
Cabal is like a perspective from behind a guy, and then you're shooting stuff, kind of like I don't know what to describe it. I was thinking of a different. I was thinking of Jackal. Jackal is the Jeep game. Cabal is a different game altogether. I will paste this in there, but that is Cabal. And then there is another game
Okay.
called Jackal. That you're a Jeep. Yeah. I think like if
I'm trying to like really think about like how that meeting went. How did the pitch go? You're a Jeep.
oh yeah, because I mean it's supposed to be you're a Jeep. You're guys driving a Jeep and you're like rescuing prisoners of war or something like that. But from the graphics, like especially on the NES, it just looked like you were a sentient Jeep, like rampaging around this base and
Oh, so
shooting
like
people.
Maximum
Yeah,
Overdrive
like
with Emilio
Maximum
Estevez.
Overdrive, or
Okay.
yeah, basically Maximum Overdrive the game, except you're a
Wait.
Jeep and then it tosses grenades out.
Oh
So
my
yeah,
God. Okay,
Jackal.
I'm sending you I'm sharing the podcast name brainstorming file with you over Gmail right now, so you should get that invite pretty soon. So you and I can have a look at this at the same time.
Okay, let me
Um,
log into the
if we were in
Gmail.
Hangouts, I could just share my damn screen with you, but whatever.
Fucking
We've had a
Hangouts.
very involved discussion about a lot of these names, and a lot of the names like it's weird because we're in this weird process of coming up with a name, and then one or two people just shooting it down for very good reasons, you know.
That's what
And
happens.
yeah, so like we've had, I mean,
Oh,
like
that's
in
a
this
lot of
file,
names.
yeah, we,
I saw that John said that you contacted him also about
yeah, I
it.
did. After you told me, ask John about it because he came up with your guy's name. I shared the file with him and he threw it some. I think he threw some in or he commented or something. But
In medias resolution. Okay.
I like that one.
The
That was my last. That was like 2 days ago though. Like we kind of
the
stopped on this.
the Legend of Crap.
That was me getting stupid and desperate.
Yeah. Legend of
Uh,
Carp.
the Legend of the Carp. Okay, that sounds
Legend
kind
of
of
Carp.
cool.
Powers up.
Um,
There's a ham on the floor. Let's eat it for health. Polygon Blitz. Digital mythologies. I mean, that's perfectly fine. If you were like owned by like ABC Corporation, like digital mythologies would be all right. The special moves, finishing moves. This is the name of your band, isn't it?
yeah. So basically, John, who was also in that band, goes he in the comments section. He said something like, "What did he write?" Says it feels incestuous or something. Like,
Yeah.
but I mean, I like there's ham on the floor. Let's eat it for health. There's a lot of problems with this name though. It's very
So
pointedly specific at a niche crowd. And on top of that, if you don't get the inside joke, it's really non sequitur, and it doesn't acronym down to anything good.
what is that? The Gauntlet? Is that a
It's
Gauntlet
more like
reference?
no, I think it's Final Fight
Oh
or any
yeah,
of
that
those side
works too.
scrolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you punch a garbage can, there's a whole roast chicken in there, and you
Yeah.
eat it.
Or I mean, Castlevania. There's like turkey in the walls of a haunted castle. I'm gonna
Perfect.
eat this now.
Oh, this is just what I needed.
I mean, maybe it's a different world, like a different planet altogether. That's just where you get meat.
right, and
You
then
know,
they
like
look
the
at us
Homer
like
Simpson monkey paw thing. It's like, oh, now it's raining.
it's
What's a donut?
it's like ah! Oh, those were that was a good season.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but I think what do you call it? It's like yeah, so maybe people from that world would look at us like, oh, why are you preparing food? It's so disgusting.
I like Masters in Gaming
I think that's the one John came up with.
or Game Genies. I like Game Genies without the. And so you guys can call it GG because that's pretty good.
Oh,
That's a
like good game.
that's a good acronym in GG.
Welcome back to GG. We're talking about
Yeah, and then at the end
whatever.
it'll be like, all right, that's the end of the podcast.
Yeah, that'd be, or we'd have like a
GG.
clock in the background somewhere that nobody can see. It'd be like, oh, it's time, and everybody starts going GG, GG, which is hilarious because I've never actually used that in because I never play StarCraft online, so
I use
I've
it
never
in
had to say that with anybody.
yeah, I use it in Dota. That's
So that carries over to all the other like
oh yeah,
online
yeah.
games and stuff.
It's GG just basically means I give up. Like you guys win.
Yeah, yeah.
Like check.
You know what the thing about Masters in Gaming, I don't want to use it because it sounds super like it sounds like we're the superlative like pretentious like if
True.
we didn't say it kind of I don't know.
It
Critical Hit
also
was awesome,
sounds
but that's
like a
already big.
1980s like a game show based around video games, and it was just really
Oh,
lame. And then you would watch it and be like, "Man, I just wish this was more about video games." Like Nick Arcade.
oh God.
Yeah, Nick Arcade, man. When
Forgot about
I'd
that.
watch that and be like, "Ah, cool video games." Like, there's no video games in here.
Or like, Captain N the Game Master. That was good, but it was I don't know, that was like the most I could get out of like games in a cartoon, so
Yeah.
but it was too easy to mispronounce that name. Like you could it could really easy turn into just like Captain and the Game Master.
Captain Game Masters.
What did I like? I didn't vote for any of these yet. In Media's Resolution's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
I don't know where
yeah, that
I'm not
works.
sure where Power Sup came from. I think that's John. Polygon Blitz is ruled out because there's already Polygon. Mm, you can kind of tell who recommended which name because like sort of more academic sounding names came sort of from me and like all of the
Glama
games that
Lama
really
Ding Dong.
that one was another like thing where I was just like I'm getting frustrated and I don't know what to do. Um, there's a lot of fighting game references. Those are all Thomas's ones, and I think the Game Genies is Thomas's as well. The only concern I had with Game Genies is that like if I don't know who made Game Genie back in the day, but if they ever decided to pursue anything, I like Giant Enemy Crab, but it's kind of obscure.
Yeah. It's like it's obscure for most people, but like for people that are into video games, it's too on the nose also. That's weird.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, what are we talking about? Like bad game news or something?
Bad dudes.
Bad dudes.
Are you a bad enough dude to listen to this podcast?
That could work. The ending was pretty terrible too, right? Where it was just like, let's go get a hamburger
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, you saved the president and it's like, let's go get a hamburger.
That sounds like something Obama might actually say, though. Like I can see him saying that.
Thanks for
Thank you for
saving
saving.
me. Let's go to
Let's go
Five
get a
Guys
hamburger.
Burgers. You're retreating.
That's true.
I'm just kidding.
You're Trudy.
So yeah, games. So
Games.
an hour in, let's start talking about like.
Oh damn! Sorry,
Let's
my
start
bad.
talking about stuff. No, this is all of our bad. We're all bad.
All right,
It's all bad.
all bad dudes.
All bad dudes. All bad all the time. So your Indiegogo project. So
Yeah.
you got that funded and everything.
Yes, I did. Thank you
Um,
to everybody who contributed and shared the link. I really, really super appreciate it because what this translates to directly is that with a $2,000 goal, all of that goes directly to funding my next conference presentation trip. So I got to fly from Japan to Michigan and back again, and that ticket costs about $1,800, and the rest of it goes to the conference registration prices and the hotel. So, or no, sorry, hotel and hotel and round trip ticket come up to 1800. The rest of it goes to the registration and basically just, making sure that I can eat a meal a day, basically.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the 2000 covered all that, which is great, but we were able to exceed the goal by $581. So the rest of that
Oh,
goes to the
nice.
next. Yeah, it really worked out quite well. So now I can apply that to the next research trip, which for the foreseeable future, I don't have one yet, but I'm thinking if I can raise some more funds in some other ways, see if I can secure some more funding in more normal channels first before I do another Indiegogo or something like that.
Hmm.
Maybe I can attend GDC again this year, which sadly I applied to speak at GDC this year and it didn't work out this year, which is okay
Hmm.
because the GDC is really the cream of the cream. Like it's really hard to get into speaking at GDC unless you're really well established. So, um, you know, that's cool. So I'll
Yeah.
get in someday. I'll get in someday. It's definitely one of those bucket list goals of mine. But this year, if I can apply that 581 extra dollars to attending GDC again this year, that would be extremely helpful too. So
Definitely.
yeah, but I will keep everybody apprised of how that money is going to get spent. I haven't quite decided yet, but whatever it's going to be for, it's going to be for games research and nothing else. So
Huh.
yeah.
All right. So, what is the? I remember looking on the Indiegogo site. There was a number of people that I don't think you actually even knew. Like, was there a lot of contributors that didn't actually that weren't like actual friends or people that you knew personally or something like that?
Well, actually, let's have a look at that list right now. I would say about half of the contributors were people that I know in some fashion, either like personally because I've met them face to face before, or maybe we've collaborated on something in the past, like
Mm-hmm.
for research or maybe game development or something. But the other half of the people sort of came from expanding, reaching out to different networks. So, for example, when I spoke at PAX, um,
Yeah.
and I was able to, and a lot of those people I did invite to. I failed to mention this in any of my update videos, but I'm moderating. I founded and moderated what's called the Game Studies Open Forum on
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, and for the longest time it was closed forum. Now it's public, so if you want to join, just go ahead and put a request in through Facebook. But a lot of those Facebook people, I just basically spread it on there, and I told all the PAX people that I knew, I said, hey, if you could do me the favor of just sharing this link, I would be much appreciated. Just share this with all your friends who are into games. And I think a lot of those, I can't confirm, but I think a lot of those people came from those social networks getting spread around. It also helped at the last minute to get interviewed by somebody from geekpron.com who
Yeah, I
basically
saw that too. Yeah.
that was super awesome. So that worked out. And I think I got a few contributions from during that time period from people I didn't know. And so what
Cool.
else? Yeah, I mean,
Did you get any personal feedback of like people like asking about what this was, or just commenting on like what like, did you get any kind of feedback from people who were contributing?
no, just not really. Sadly, there's a comment, there's a place on the page where the Indiegogo page where you can leave comments. There's 13 comments, 12 of them are spam. So
Oh.
like, yeah,
Okay.
sadly, like 12 of them basically are like, hey, looks like you have an interesting project for a game. And it's like, I'm not making a game.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah.
just like, yeah, because they're scanning, the
Of
sections
course.
it belongs to. So they're just like, if you pay me $5, I can get you like your campaign spread out even more. And I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
we're probably like in the top 100 websites in Russia right now, just because
Why?
we have so much Russian like bots that could try to that either try to hack our site or try to like comment on the site or something like that. It's just like
You
when
guys have
we
Russian bots trying to like comment and hack your site. That's crazy.
yeah, or just people from that area, from that region,
Okay,
or computers from that region, from Eastern Europe, Russia.
interesting.
Yeah, it's just like all the IPs and stuff. I mean, when we were looking at it at one point, I mean, I think it's kind of died down a bit, but that's kind of the running joke around here that we're number one in Russia.
Sometimes it's really weird the way people find your website. Like I used to have a blog from when I was a teacher in Japan, and it turned out that one of the highest, like I think the third highest search term for my, again, this is going to sound kind of weird, but the third highest search term for Google for my website was clitoris. And the reason is because my name in Japanese, Kurisu, actually is really close, like one letter off from the Japanese pronunciation of clitoris. So people were misspelling that and like they're putting like I don't know, Curis Torres or something like that, and it was like leading to my blog for some reason.
Oh,
Yeah.
some poor guy was ready to get down, and he was just like, what is this? What is this? Damn it!
Yeah. Or maybe it was one of my students. It's like, all right, let's find out what this thing looks like. Chris Sensei, what the hell? Yeah.
Oh God!
Yeah. So, but anyway, so the 12 out of the 13 comments were spam, uh, of all the same sort. And then the one real comment I got was from the chapter president of IGDA Japan, Mr. Kenji Ono. He basically just said, "Good luck." So
Nice.
nobody asked about it except for like when I was broadcasting, when I kind of announced this Indiegogo at the conference I went to in Canada. Professor Mia Consalvo from Concordia just kind of asked me like more specific questions as you do as a professor. She's like, you were very vague on your Indiegogo in terms of what kind of research you're doing and how this exactly feeds into that. And she said like, also you didn't mention what conference you're going to. But she said, because it's in Michigan, I assume it's meaningful play. And of course she knows because she's the keynote speaker at that conference coming up.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, so I was just like, I didn't want to put it was meaningful play because I didn't know if I was actually accepted to that conference yet. Like I had a pretty good like shot at getting to the
Yeah,
conference,
because
but
you spoke
because
at
it
that
was
a couple of years ago, right?
I did. I talked
Yeah.
at Meaningful Play in 2012. I presented a paper on Metal Gear, trying to sort of like, I don't know, investigate the different meanings, the sub meanings that were present in the text. And actually, that was the progression of that paper was what I was presenting at Canada. So, but yeah, so I mean, in real life, like academics were asking me more specific questions about what I'm doing in narrative, but none of that sort of came up in the electronic feeds.
Sweet. So when is meaningful play?
Meaningful Play is October 16th to 18th
Oh,
officially, and
yeah.
yeah, so it's coming up next month. So I'm in the process of making the slides. So for example, for all of you guys who contributed $50 and chose the slide acknowledgement perk, you guys are going to be on the last slide of that presentation where it's going to be like, here's a slide. This is for example, I haven't decided the name yet. For example,
Mm-hmm.
it'd be like the foundation for the East West Foundation of Video Game Studies or something. You know, these are like the board members. These are the patriots,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
like
Yes.
12 photos. And then the thing is, I left it up to each of the perk holders. It's up to their discretion. They can give me the real name, they can give me a fake name, they can give me the real picture or their fake picture. It's up to them. So, like, I'm really excited to see what kind of stuff comes in. Actually, one guy
Nice.
already turned it in. He said, please list me as Prometheus with quotations marks around the name and then don't have a photo. And I was like, no photo? He goes, yeah, you can choose a photo, but make sure it's not me. And I was like, okay, so I'm thinking I'll put that Evangelion thing that says sound only or something. I think that'll be kind of cool.
Yeah. Or the Prometheus from Metal Warriors.
Oh, oh my God.
Right?
Oh, oh my God.
Right?
Oh man, that was like my
Yeah.
favorite thing. I would not choose any other unit in that game.
He's
This
kind of the
was so,
best. I
oh,
mean, if he could jump, he would be overpowered. Like that's
yeah. I
basically
mean,
it.
if
He could make a
on certain,
bridge.
yeah, he could make a bridge. He could make these floating mines. He had a flamethrower for close range, and then he had that devastating cannon that
Yeah, yeah.
you could control the detonation on if you were
And he
really
even
good
had
with
a
it.
shield that went around his body.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah, he was pretty dope.
that guy was insane.
Yeah, it's such a good game.
I hope everybody who doesn't know that game goes and plays it now.
Yeah,
Jeez,
I've exposed like friends up here to that game. It's such a good game.
you
Lucas,
guys on
it's a
Infinite Lives, you
Lucas
guys cover.
Arts game.
It is.
I think so.
It was
Uh,
also well.
It's a
It was
Konami,
supposed to
Konami,
be
and
like the spiritual successor of Cybernator.
I think spiritual in the very loosest sense that they both have robots. But Cybernator is actually like, I think that's part 2 or 3 in a series that's
Oh
only
really?
really in Japan. It's called like Assault Suit, like
It
the
starts with a
Assault
B,
Suit.
right?
It's like Assault Suit series. So there's 1 or 2 on the Genesis. Then there's the Super Nintendo one that's Cybernator here in the U.S. And then there's even one on the Saturn that came out, and I think those were it. Those were 4 games or something like that. But yeah, they're the
Cybernator.
assault suit series. They were all called different, like Vicos and Lycos or something. I don't know. But yeah, they're the assault suit series, and so
That was
yeah,
such a very well fleshed out world. You know, when
yeah,
we played Cybernator on the SNES, I really
yeah,
felt like I was a member of this military that was
yeah.
trying to fight for the freedom of.
Damn it, Cree!
Yeah, that's right. Wait, she died? No,
I think right. Wasn't
no,
it
she didn't die.
Cree?
She didn't die.
Oh, okay.
because if you beat the game, there's a scene where she like jumps into your arms.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, no, no.
And it's like
But you're the one who told me that the president suicides himself in the
in the
Japanese version.
Japanese version, yes.
Yeah, like,
Instead
he
of just
busts into
running
the
away.
parliament.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
that's
like
an
shoots
excellent. That's
himself
an
in the
excellent
head.
scene. It's like, oh man, I'm in the parliament. The president's like, ah, I'm out of here. But in
I
the
mean, there's a
Japanese version, he's just like, ah.
I am really out of here. I know, like, dude, that's like for an action side-scrolling robot game, there was a lot of narrative to it. I mean, even if you took
Oh,
out all of the
tons.
radio communique, there was just a lot of like contextual stuff that you can get out of this. It's a very rich story.
Yeah, and
Uh,
for a game that doesn't have actual like an open world or objectives, like a mission based structure, like in between levels, they would kind of outline like what the mission is.
yeah, yeah. You get
So
that in your briefing.
yeah,
Yeah,
so you can actually get stuck in that game if you're not really sure what you're supposed to be doing. But
yeah.
if you kind of pay attention to that, you kind of know what you're supposed to be doing, like
And there were a few
roughly.
secret areas too, like especially on the asteroid base level.
Yeah,
That was my favorite level because like there was that one part where you need to get through the torpedo tube section, and there's like they're firing like ICBMs out the window, and you need to avoid those or
yeah,
something.
yeah. That game's
Like that was a
fantastic.
man.
When you like go when you're like coming re-entering into the atmosphere and
Oh,
stuff,
that
like
was
that's just
awesome
fucking
too. There's a
sweet.
lot of drama there too because you save one of the enemy pilots,
Yeah.
and then the enemy ace who becomes the main bad guy at the end of the game. He comes and he's just like, "Why'd you save my friend?" And then you're like, "Why are you being an asshole?" And then you guys fight, and yeah,
Then he's like, I'm out of here.
yeah, yeah. And then you're like, "No, I wanted revenge." But no, you gotta stick around by your ship that just crash landed because these things are not designed to land properly, I guess.
Yeah. They're designed to penetrate bases.
Dude, that was awesome
The
too.
very
It was
beginning of the game. All right,
yeah.
here we go.
Get ready. We're totally going to like fertilize this colony.
Yeah. Again, penises.
Yeah. Oh man, no. But that was cool too because it's actually the plot of Gundam Seed. Maybe they got it from that game because
Oh
it's like
yeah,
they
yeah.
go into this neutral colony to find out that they're making weapons of mass destruction in it. Because the whole first level was basically you are trying to prevent the launch of that super battleship, right?
Hmm.
Because they're about to at the end they're about to attach the power unit or something, and then you shoot the shit out of the power unit. It falls through, makes a hole in the bottom where your ship is conveniently hanging out waiting for you. That was a good game.
Yeah.
Oh man, that
Good
was a great
stuff.
game. In fact, there's some indie games out here in Japan that are kind of like trying to carry on that tradition of Cybernator style gameplay.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yep,
I
yep.
would be interested in
I'll try to
those.
dig up the link up for you later, but I remember checking out some indie Japanese shopping website. The problem with um, shopping for indie games in Japan is that indie games are, how do I say this? This is kind of where my research is going actually. In Japan there's indie games, but not the same way we know them. They're sort of like on the middle level of studios. You could call it a studio, in fact. So like the
So they're
guys that
like
made Tokyo
funded by
Jungle,
they're funded by them by like the big
they're
companies or
like a
something.
they're like a formal business that had to file for like, we are a business and set
Hmm.
themselves. And then there's something called Dojin games, which have been around for ages, and like those are basically the same thing as Dojin manga. Basically, Dojin, the word actually means like individual, personal.
Hmm.
So it's like made by one guy. Usually these games and manga are made by one or two people. And like when I interviewed a lot of the people at TGS this year at the Indie Games Corner, most of the Japanese creators really they corrected me every time I said, so your studio or your game design like company, they would be like, no, 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 we're just a hobby circle. Like that they would make a point to tell me that we are just a hobby circle. And then I look at the game that they're presenting. I'm like, you guys just made this as a hobby circle? Are you kidding? Like, this is great. And they're like, yeah, no, we work regular jobs in the day, and whenever we have time, we make these things. And I'm like, man, I wish I could make that in my free time.
Yeah.
And so I think the problem is that like you have two, you have its advantages, disadvantages. You have something like Steam Greenlight, right?
Hmm.
And Steam Greenlight is a great place for people to apply to have their game sold if they're an indie studio. Now in Japan, Steam doesn't get used a whole lot. It exists out here, but nobody really cares.
Yeah,
And
stuff is mostly phone based, isn't it?
it's all, well, not really phone, but like nowadays just like individual, like they'll have like what they'll call like hobbyist websites where you can purchase these things through things like PayPal or whatever. And it's really hard to. There's no centralized marketplace for Dojin games, or
Mm.
that I know of. I don't want to. I mean, there probably is. I just don't know it because I'm linguistically limited. But like the place where I found this game, it looked very much like Cybernator. It only had like 20 games on it. That was it, you know. And most of them were bullet hells. So maybe
Yeah,
that website was just for bullet hells. Um, but yeah, this looked like Cybernator on steroids, dude. Seriously,
bullet hells, too much bullet hells.
they love that.
I used to be good at that stuff, and then my skill is just so deteriorated, where it's not even funny. Like I used to imagine going to Japan and playing in the arcades with all of their shumps, and like just having like a blast or something like that, and just like I wouldn't want to do that now. It would just
You,
it would be
but you know
very
what
sad.
though? Actually, I played the new Gundam game, and I didn't realize that like because they're all stacked up like 4 by 4, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
along. I didn't realize I was playing the guy on the other sitting on the other side of the machine. I just
Nice.
I just thought that this game is ridiculously fucked up hard and hates its players. But later I just realized that like why am I losing so badly every time?
Hmm.
This doesn't seem like a machine anymore. And then I noticed that like yeah, people are like challenging each other. And I was like, oh man. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean that part's not fun.
I think everybody who's ever been a gamer or gamer, I don't like using the word gamer, has ever been into video games, um, should owe it to themselves to actually experience like an Asian arcade, like an
Uh,
arcade in Asia, because it's like
right.
it's so crazy, and there's so
It's
much games and they're big and it's not like a CD. See, like in America, like arcades were always kind of like a seedy thing. Like that's
yeah,
where
yeah.
delinquents hung out or something and stuff like that. There was, I mean, I remember like freaking in Hawaii,
Pearl Ridge,
Time Machine in
Time
Hawaii.
Machine.
I
Where was
remember
Time Machine at? Was that in
time.
Kalihi?
Yeah, well, no, that was on Liliha. That was that
Okay,
small little.
that's the place that all you St. Teresa kids would talk about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I remember somebody like got a knife pulled on a dude there because of Street Fighter. I mean, this is like because it's this like really small kind of thing, and you'd go to other arcades to challenge people and stuff like that. It was kind of like basketball like courts kind of stuff.
I
But
just yeah, it really had that feel to it. Like even in Pro Ridge Phase 2 or
oh
Phase
yeah,
2,
yeah, it was just like it was like
like
I
that
got
was
my
what was that
corner.
Fun Factory?
Yeah. Oh
Like you would and they would do that on purpose. They'd play like fight music over the PA. Like they play like fucking like hardcore rap music that make you'd be like the most like Gandhi-esque like peaceful person before you walked in there. And then as soon as you're just trying to get to your game in the back, that might not even be a fighting game. You just by the time you got back there, you were puffing your chest out, eyeing
yeah,
everybody out because you suddenly felt like you were in this fighting movie.
yeah.
'Cause the
I'm gonna
soundtrack.
fucking play the shit out of this stunt
Yeah,
driving game.
yeah. You better not look at me.
Yeah, don't look at me. I'm gonna
Yeah,
beat you in Afterburner.
I could beat you afterburn.
But
Oh
yeah,
man.
they always make their arcades like really dark here and stuff like that. But like in Asia, like there's dark rooms also, but like it's more kind of like I don't know. It's kind of just like it's more like a place. It's not like kind of like a secluded place kind of thing, I guess. At
It's a
least
different feel.
that's yeah, it's a
Yeah.
definitely a different feel.
Like I
Yeah.
actually I there was a game that came out 2 years ago that was in arcades that I really wanted to try, but I didn't have the guts to go up there and play it because it looked like it had its cult following and those guys were all in it and I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I don't want to, mess with this. It's kind of like the first time I saw the Gundam pod. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's like a Gundam head and you open the door to go inside. It's like a complete VR like Gundam cockpit. I played that by the way. That was pretty awesome. It's not as intimidating as I thought. But the other game I'm talking about, it was like, you know how like gun fu is really popular, where you use like two guns to fight or
Yeah,
to
yeah.
shoot things and stuff. Like this gun had two damn guns. That's how you play the game. You can't. Like I mean, a lot of shooting games like Time Crisis have two guns there, but it's for like one gun per player. But
Oh
this game
yeah, so
is
you're
like,
using both
yeah,
of
you
them.
needed to like one player gets two guns. Like that's how you play it. And I was like, I want to play that game. That was so awesome. And it was completely like equilibrium, like gun fu, gun kata kind of stuff. And people were doing their gun kata. It's like it was DDR or something. And I wanted to play it, but I just didn't have the balls. But what was I oh, okay, random thought. But very much on topic. All you four guys gotta come out to Japan so we can go to arcades and stuff. I'm serious, man.
Oh
You guys
gosh,
should do an Akihabara tour like with me. Seriously, seriously.
yeah.
I ain't kidding.
I gotta think of.
Infinite Lives. You guys come over for 2 weeks, do 2 shows out of Japan. Come out for TGS. I'm serious. Get your press passes. It's easier to get press passes for TGS than it is to get PAX.
Oh yeah.
My friend got a okay. I don't know if this should be public knowledge, but he got a press pass for TGS by just like putting down that his blog was the publication he worked for.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I'm pretty, and they didn't ask, so
Yeah.
I don't think they could verify either because he's from Thailand and the blog's in Thai.
Oh,
So
yeah, TGS would be pretty crazy.
I'm serious.
Like the
Infinite Lives, you guys got to cover TGS.
The main reason why I would go, the main thing I would do in Japan. It's kind of funny because I was thinking about this just this morning when I was waking up. That it's kind of weird that like if I go to Japan, like the thing that would be number one on my list would go to like arcades and like used game stores and stuff, and it's just like this is a place with like thousands of years of history, interesting history at that and stuff like that. But like the main thing I can think of, and you know, I like vacationing and going to historical stuff and everything like that, but like the main thing I can think of is like that would be pretty awesome if I like hung out in Japanese arcades or something, or like found some like hole in the wall thing. Because
I'm gonna say this right now, officially and like factually, you shouldn't feel bad about you shouldn't feel any guilt about going to Japan for those reasons because I've made my life that for the last like 9 years. So, I mean, if the thing is, everything is pretty much within reason to get to. So you in 2 weeks you can see all of the ancient stuff and go hang out and use the fact that you mentioned like used game stores in Japan is just like thrilling because like you'll go in there and there'll be like this whole graveyard of Sega Saturns and Dreamcasts and like original like Famicom just in heaps and you can buy them and most of them still function. You know, and the one thing I haven't seen though are Virtual Boys. Not that anyone wants that, but
Kevin has a Virtual Boy.
Really?
Yeah, he has a working Virtual Boy.
Oh my god.
It's really dumb.
Okay.
Have you ever actually played the Virtual Boy?
Once.
Yeah. In
they had
KB stores or something?
Yeah, they had a KBs. They had a
store.
Oh god. Okay, they had a demo out at the Blockbuster back when it came out. I don't know, was that like 97, I want to say?
Yeah.
Something like that. And
sure.
I played it. I don't even know if I played it. Like I put it on and I couldn't figure out how to work anything.
It's one of the dumbest things that Nintendo has ever done, I think.
Then I was thinking it's over, and then of course I watched the APGN review of the Virtual Boy, and that pretty much was like hits all the important points about it. But oh, dude, okay, so here let me just drop this on you real fast. This is what you do: you apply for your press pass for TGS. You guys all get down here. I don't care how you do it. You get down here. I already got it planned out. You come a week early, okay? You come a week early.
Okay.
We go to Odaiba City and check out the motherfucking Gundam, okay? One of those nights, we go to a fucking robot restaurant. I don't know if you've heard of this place, but it's insane.
Are all the waitresses robots?
This is how it goes. It's actually not a restaurant. It's more like you go to a AZW event, except that like all of the wrestlers are like hot Japanese girls in weird outfits. A panda bear, dinosaurs like velociraptors, and robots that are fighting in the ring.
That sounds amazing.
And when I say velociraptor, it's like the costumes they use, like they've actually got like the tails sticking straight out, like for balance and stuff. Like actually, when the first time I saw the video, I actually thought it was like a set of like a movie. I don't know where they got these costumes from, but there's a guy in there like fighting like a girl.
You know, it's funny, yeah. So with the Japan stuff, like, there's video games. There's I've always wanted to see Japanese wrestling in person, and you know that kind of fits the bill. And weirdly enough, I've always wanted to see Japanese baseball, just because it seems like such like a mirror but different from
it's different. It's really weird.
Different, but it's kind of the same game and everything.
Like everybody knows everyone in the stadium knows when to do certain things
Yeah,
when,
yeah,
and
that
like,
sounds amazing. That sounds
and
great.
I've actually never been to a baseball game, so we could do that while you're here too.
Yeah.
And
And also,
like if you guys come for,
there's supposed to be once a year. There's the high school baseball tournament.
oh yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah,
supposed to
yeah.
be like the biggest thing over there or something like
It's
that.
a
That
huge. It's almost like a real life drama. I mean, like, well, a lot of sports are like that, real life drama. But like
yeah,
the high school one is really like that's when like a lot of hearts pour out because for some of these kids, they might never play baseball
yeah,
ever again. Um, depending on what happens. So yeah, I mean, like you could do that. Um, I'll take you guys around to all my favorite restaurants. This is all the first week before TGS. Then the week of TGS, you guys go to TGS, do whatever it is that you guys do best. Enjoy yourselves, and I'll make sure that everything goes smoothly. We'll go to Indie Fest that night as well. You guys can go as press, okay? And you guys
cool.
can meet. You guys can meet like I mean I met Inafune this year. That was
Yeah,
insane.
that's crazy. Yeah,
He was
that's.
standing right behind me. It was
Did you get
like
to talk to him for a little bit,
I
or
did, yeah,
oh
I
yeah?
did. But I mean
What
he
did
was
you say
mostly
to
in.
him?
Oh
Like,
God, I was a
hey,
fanboy.
I like
This,
things that you
yeah,
do
essentially,
sometimes.
yeah. Do you like stuff?
Yeah,
Like,
can you touch
no, I
me?
mean, it wasn't as interactive as you might think it was.
Of
Like, this
course.
is what happened. So, I was hanging out with a game developer from Utah that night because he looked kind of lost, and well, I don't know if he's listening, but I don't want to say he looked lost. But basically, we're just chilling out. It's his first time in Japan or second or something like that. And I'm just talking with him and translating a few things here and there for him. And we're getting to the point where we're supposed to do the toast. So everybody needs a glass of something. So I go to the table and I grab a bottle of beer and I'm pouring beers for everybody in the area. And I get back to where I'm standing and I look where I was standing, like right behind me the whole time was Inafune. He's just right there.
Yeah.
And I recognize him and I'm just like, holy shit. Like in my mind, I'm like, it's Inafune. And I kind of turn around. At first I asked him in Japanese, hey, do you need a beer? And he's like, no, I'm good. And he's already holding the glass of beer. So I turn around and I'm still holding the bottle. And I look like I've seen a ghost. So the guy from Utah, Josh, he just goes, "Hey, so what's the matter with you?" And I said, "The guy standing right behind me, he's the guy who made Mega Man."
Hmm.
And then he turns around and I'm standing vaguely. So basically, there's like five Japanese guys behind me,
Yeah, yeah.
and he doesn't recognize Inafune, so he talks to me again. He's like, "Are you sure?" There's like a bunch of guys behind you, and I stand weirdly so that like my butt is pointing to Inafune. kind of, like Josh can kind of figure it out. Then when he realizes, he goes white as a ghost as well. We're just
Yeah.
standing there, like being completely like, what do we do? The toast happens, we come by, and I use that as an excuse to, fanboy my way over. Basically, okay, you gotta toast with everyone in your vicinity, especially Inafune. Here you go.
Yeah.
And then so I toast with him. I was like, "Excuse me, are you Inafune Keiji?" And he goes, "Yes, I am." And I go, I'm sorry, I really got to introduce myself. I'm Chris. I'm a narrative. I study narrative in games." He goes, "Oh, that's really interesting." And I said, "I'm from Hawaii." He goes, "Oh, Hawaii," and like he didn't care
Nice.
about. Like I know Hawaii is the thing. If you're from Hawaii, like if you have anything to do with Hawaii, Japanese people just love Hawaii, man.
Really?
So like, yeah, they
Why
do.
is that?
They do.
Just because it's still the popular tourist destination or something? Huh.
Hawaii is like the most ideal place for Japanese people. It's not for any discernible fact, but it just is. And
Huh.
so he was just like, "Oh, Hawaii, that's great." We started talking a little bit about like Hawaii, and I just told him, thank you so much for creating the
Huh.
character. I loved that game growing up, especially part two. I never beat it, but I spent so many great afternoons just playing the game. You provided a lot of entertainment for a lot of kids over the years, and so I just wanted to thank you, from me at least for that. And he was like, "No, no, I didn't do any of that." They always say stuff like that. No, like I didn't. I'm not
Well, yeah.
affecting
That's
anything.
there's also in the early games of those 80 the Nintendo era, the Nintendo Entertainment System, Famicom era. If you look at a lot of the credits, they would have a lot of like fake names or nicknames and
Yep,
stuff
yep,
because
that's
yeah
right.
they wouldn't want to be known for making this game or for
Well, the other thing too is that the business system in Japan, you got to credit the company mostly.
yeah, of course, yeah,
Yeah. So like when I met the creator of Space Invaders, the Q&A session was pretty interesting because one of the professors asked, "Hey, so did you what did you get rich because it got popular?" And
hmm
he goes, "No, I didn't. The most I got was an extra month's pay bonus in the next paycheck, and that was it." And then we all laughed, and it was like, "Oh, that's awful."
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
the creator of Space Invaders we're talking about.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
Inafune is probably the same thing, but like I'm just glad I got to meet him because he's a big supporter of indies.
Yeah.
He's all about indies. And I told him this maybe subconsciously because I wasn't thinking, but I told him I really think Japan still got quite a lot to show the world in terms of like, game and story power. And then I later thought about it and I'm like, that's the guy who said that Japan industry might be dying now.
Yeah, yeah, that's
And I
true.
was
Yeah,
like,
he's.
I was like, damn it, Chris, you ramble. But he was just nodding nicely and just, whatever. I met him.
Well,
And then of course
I think what he said was kind of. I mean, maybe it was taken a little bit out of
it
context. I
was it
think
was
he
taken out of
was.
context.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he was more. Yeah, it was kind of like doing what you were just saying, that trying to be more positive about it, and instead of, yeah, I think it was more trying to be a rallying call instead of being like a complete criticism of
Yeah,
it,
I mean,
or
and
just
part
a
of his criticism
doomsaying kind of thing.
definitely came from the fact that he had surveyed the floor of TGS that year, and he basically just saw a lot of neat innovation coming from games that were not from Japan,
Yeah.
and Japan sort of relying on its old tropes too much. And I think he was kind of trying to bring people's attention to that. But the way that the media took it, it was like Inafune says we're going to die, so we're going to die.
Oh yeah, especially
Like,
somebody like that. Yeah.
you know, and but in truth, he's just looking for new creative outlets, and he's done quite a lot of stuff in terms of trying to support indie creators in Japan
Hmm.
because they're not. It's harder for indie creators in Japan than in the West because in the West it's kind of like we have it ingrained in our culture to kind of like make something crazy and weird. I mean,
Yeah,
they
or
have
I
that
mean,
too in
just do
Japan, but in a
something on
different
your
way.
own, I guess.
Yeah, just do something on your own because out here it's like doing something on your own is admirable to a point. After
Yeah,
that, it's like, but did you get your career in order? Did you get your life in order? Because if you
yeah.
didn't do those things, then you're pretty much not going to make it in society.
It's kind of like the first time I ever had you on the podcast, where you were talking about how even people who create anime or manga, um, it's not a very highly looked upon profession in a way, where it's more kind of. I mean, you were explaining that it was. I mean, it's not like the lowest form of employment or anything, not by any stretch, but it's kind of not looked as favorably as other professions.
It's a
Whereas,
sad, yeah, it's
yeah,
a sad thing because what happens is, if you're really enthused by anime and manga and you want to be a creator in that field,
yeah,
you can be a creator in that field. There's nothing to stop you. But the problem is that job pays crap, and
hmm,
for the hours that you put in, it takes away more from the fans who work for it than it gives back.
yeah,
And that's why those professions, or it's a person mangaka, a person who makes manga, or the anime car, or somebody who makes like contributes to making anime. Those people in those professions are not necessarily like looked down upon. It's just that, like, for example, if I had told somebody, my circle of friends or my parents especially, hey, I'm thinking about joining up with this manga company, they would take pause and they would be like, hey, could we talk to you about this for a second?
yeah,
Because we don't want you to have a job that is going to suck your soul out,
yeah.
essentially.
And we don't want you to struggle for nothing.
Yeah, we don't want you to struggle for anything. And that's all meaning well and stuff. And I feel for people who still want to enter that job because it's a meaningful pursuit.
Hmm.
Inherently, it's a meaningful pursuit. The way it's structured in society doesn't reflect how meaningful it actually is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I
And
wonder if oh yeah, go on, go finish your
no, no,
thoughts.
no, that was about it. So
So I see some correlation on this, because I've seen a couple of like stories, or people sharing stuff or whatever, just things I hear about, like, people who are programmers by trade or something like that. They studied, they got their computer science degree, and they know a bunch of programming languages and stuff like that, and coming out of college, they had a choice. They could either work for a number of game companies and get paid a certain wage, or, and this is in the US, or I could go work for Amazon or Boeing or Google or one of these big companies and get paid twice as much and
yeah,
have
yeah.
less, like, far less work and
Hmm.
much more job security. And I think, I mean, this is not my own personal theory, of course. It's like a pretty obvious, like, problem here that you can see, that I think a lot of it, the manga companies, anime companies, video game companies in general, kind of rely on that
Hmm.
enthusiast part of it. Like you go working for a video game company because you're like, I want to make video games because I loved them as a kid and stuff like that. I want to go work for this video game company. Oh, you're paying me twice as half the going wage of an actual, like, bona fide programmer. Oh, that's fine. I still get to make games, right? Oh, you're making me
Yeah.
work 4 times as much. Oh, that's cool. I can still make games. And I think that really messes up people, because a lot of the indie devs that I've been talking to, like earlier in the year, I talked to this guy from that's making a Neo Scavenger. This guy Daniel Fedor, he's making Neo Scavenger, a small little indie game on Steam, and he used to be a guy who worked at BioWare, like
Yeah.
actual project lead in BioWare, and like, to me, that's like, oh, that's a dream job. Like, you made it. Like, why would you ever think of like going somewhere else? And he was just like, after a certain number of years, it's just, you gotta go, because
Hmm.
the money's not as good, and for the hours that you put in and all this stuff, and you have to deal with so much other things that are like not making the game.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. And I wonder if that's what really hurts, just creativity and all that stuff.
I think that's definitely a humongous thing that's hurting the industry as a whole, and just humans who are trying to like have who have
Yeah, a
that dream.
life.
Yeah, I mean a life, and like I mean, if you want to be involved in creating something that you felt was very meaningful to yourself, that's a like, very wholesome pursuit. But the way that it's structured just makes it so that, for example, the gentleman you're talking about has to leave, or
Yeah.
like, and I think that that's very reflective of a growing trend these days, and one of the reasons why indies is picking up now. It's kind of because I mean, like if you look at the game, I think the game is called Deliverance Kingdom Come. It's like this realistic medieval RPG. I don't know if you've heard of that,
Mm.
but it doesn't look like an indie game. It looks like a full-on AAA game, and the reason is because it's a group of people who used to work for like 20 years at like Activision and all these different
Yeah.
places. It's like a super group coming together to make
Hmm.
an indie game, but it's totally not like an indie looking game at all.
Yeah.
But part of that is because they've got these great ideas and they know how to make them, but maybe for whatever reason the bureaucracy never let them make those games.
Well, it's also, some of it is also just money. Kind of going back to one of the first things we actually talked about, like, at the beginning of this, was like, movies getting made and everything, and some of that is just, there's a finite amount of money that every company has, and the more you invest in something, the more that you want to be cautious on how many risks you take, because you want
Yeah,
to make that money back. I
that's
mean,
right.
yeah, EA tomorrow could make like the craziest game in the world, like where, you're all a bunch of chipmunks and you all have like hand cannons, but it's actually like a farming simulator and also a space simulator and a flight
And they're
simulator.
they're driving a Jeep.
Yeah, and they're driving a Jeep, and then it's all multiplayer, but acres, all this stuff. Like, it could have like the craziest, like the most innovative, like, I've never seen this ever before, but maybe nobody will buy it. I
Yeah.
mean, uh,
Oh, like
like a
freaking I Have Judgment, man. That was a really good game that nobody wanted to buy.
yeah, or like yeah, I had Judgment. Like, Shenmue. I mean, I have mixed feelings about Shenmue and stuff like that, but it didn't sell, so like they didn't continue making it. Like, it's just, the Yakuza games that came out in Japan, they brought out the first one here and it didn't sell at all, and they're like, so Sony's just like, oh, we're never gonna bring out another Yakuza game in the U.S. because nobody bought it. So that's kind of what happens. It's
Is that why I
we're
can't find it? Because seriously, after I saw the creator speak at SEDEC, I looked it up on PlayStation
yeah,
Network.
yeah,
They're
the
selling only two, I
yeah,
think.
the only there's, from my knowledge, there's only one that ever came out in the U.S., like a translated version,
Oh,
and that one didn't sell because there's like 4 or 5 Yakuza games,
yeah.
and I've never played it. I've heard pretty good things about it, but yeah, nobody bought it. So why are we gonna make another one? I mean, I mean, that's basically what it boils down to. That's why like a lot of games don't take as many risks because the risk is in the money already. Like they're investing so much in these games and so
Yep.
much money, and also
Yeah.
just
So I mean, like I think big machines that function like that have to obviously they must function like that because it's
hmm
otherwise it's not a sustainable business model.
yeah,
So that for those practicalities, it's completely I understand that.
but
I
that's
definitely see where the individual
yeah.
who's a part of that machine who has this idea or this inspiration to want to do something, or
hmm
it feels somehow that their creativity is being stifled to the point where they're not having fun. They're the stress of it is overpowering all the other advantages. And then somebody like the guy who's making Neo Scavenger just has to start striking out on their own,
Yeah.
just for
And
their own
that's the good thing where we are right now with digital distribution and stuff like that is
yeah
that
yeah
these people can do that. It's still not easy. I mean, even to especially to make like a living off of it. I don't think it's easy. It's maybe it's even harder than it was 5-10 years ago because there's so many that are branching. I mean, if you look at the Steam store, I mean, one of the reasons why they had an update recently so that you can kind of get recommendations like a little better is
because
because there's
there's
just
too much shit on there.
there's a whole lot of shit on there, like in
Yeah.
crazy shit too, like some insane stuff, and so it's hard to like shift through all that crap. I mean, there's no
Have
real good
you
way to do it.
seen that weird icon in the corner of the new Steam with the controller? Have you clicked on that before?
Yeah,
And it
that's
like
the
turns it into PlayStation
yeah
like
the big
interface.
picture mode. That's what.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it turns it into like my yuppie mode
yeah.
or my Minority Report mode, where there's like genetic material floating around in the back somewhere.
hmm
Yeah,
But yeah, that's I mean that's where we are, and it's interesting, but it's also kind of weird because there's so much stuff out there that you kind of have to shift through, and it's to the point where there's no real there's no real like reason to even go like, hey, did you play this yet? You should just assume that nobody's played like this new like interesting game that you found because they probably haven't, because there's so much stuff going around. Like I have games that like that you can find games that are so obscure and stuff like that 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 serve like a very small audience,
yeah.
and
I
yeah, it's very
there's a couple yeah there's a
fractured.
couple things that I'm thinking about when you talk about this. The first thing is like well, actually, I'd been meaning to mention this earlier, but Infinite Lives, you guys go through a lot of material, and I actually have a hard time keeping up
Oh
with all the
yeah.
games that you guys are looking at. Like, because, I mean, as a researcher, it's my job to sort of at least try to maintain some level of awareness of what's out there, right?
Mm,
Because if you're not timely, you're at a disadvantage in research. Number one. Number two, with the whole Steam thing, getting inundated with games and having to sort of switch this like recommendation algorithm. That's nice. It's convenient for some things. I'm also scared though because like that's a lot of power as a publisher. You can suppress a title pretty easily without
yeah.
anybody knowing. Yeah. Um, with the right backroom dealings, you can promote a title without anybody knowing it.
hmm
You know. Anyway, those were my two quick thoughts. Anyway, so
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
we, there's no real good way to. I mean, we don't have any funding outside of our own personal funds, so there's no real good way to like actually structure like our content. I mean, there's
hmm
only
I think
the only way
that's a
to
good
do it
thing
is
though.
just really just
Yeah.
be like, hey, whatever you're playing, that's what you're playing. I mean,
I
you
think
know,
the four of you guys with your sort of collective awareness of certain kind of games and your preferences, I think is a very good compass for the time being. Like you said, you guys are kind of just funding this out of your own pockets, so that's kind of a good thing, I think, in relation to what's going on in regular game press. Okay, I think you guys should just continue doing that. This is my personal opinion. The reason
yeah,
is because um, you guys are not being guided by any of the other like bureaucratic concerns. You guys are just like picking up on games that you guys think are interesting
yeah.
or whatever. And I think that that's important. I think that's really important.
I will say if anybody wants to throw us a bunch of money and then make us like cover things that they want to cover, like totally, that would be cool.
You know what?
I have a very low number to sell Infinite Lives. Like I'm totally fine. If I can make this a living, like actual like working, like I I support myself through this, like it would be very, 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 very easy to do that. Like, or very easy for me to let go of complete creative control, because I mean, if things really suck, I can start this again. Like, it's not
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
it's not like I'm making like a studio album and I want those songs to be like mine forever. That would be different. Like
You
if
know
I
what
was
though? I mean, has Infinite Lives thought about doing a crowdfunding project or anything like that?
we haven't. I mean, the thing is that, like, I don't know what we would use that money for,
Okay.
because we're kind of we're kind of at almost the limits of like how much time we have per week,
Yeah, you
right?
guys can actually like put into this,
Because
right?
all four of us have a full-time job,
Hmm.
right? And we still have to play the video games. I mean,
Yeah,
it would be hard to talk about it or cover it or give our
you just
opinions
can't.
about
Yeah,
things
you can't.
without
Yeah, you
without
can't
actually
comment on a
playing it.
game
Like,
without playing it. Yeah.
I mean, far be it for me to judge anybody else, but it always like troubles me. Like, I listen to several like video game podcasts and stuff. It always kind of makes me feel down when I hear like, oh, I haven't really played anything this week. Like, when I hear that on a video game podcast, I'm just like, I understand that you have like other things, but like, I mean, it's kind of hard for you to comment on something that you don't actually do. And I mean, yeah, it's hard to make time for it and stuff like that, to actually play games, because there's also, and it's also weird too, because sometimes, especially, at least, my own personal experience, there's some games that I play because I feel like I should play this game, because this is, the subject of discussion, or
Hmm.
this is in the meta or
This is the
whatever.
controversial thing,
Yeah, this is
or
either a
yeah,
controversial
it's
thing, or
timely.
this is yeah, timely, or this is like, hey, this is the game of the year kind of thing. Like, you should probably play this, and like, I should probably play it so I can have an opinion about it. But there's also games that I just kind of I want to play, that's, like 3 years old or something, and yeah, it's just not really important right now or relevant. But I'm gonna play this anyway.
But it's
It's kind of a
important to do that though. It's super important to do that. Like to
oh yeah,
revisit
oh yeah,
games that like, yeah, like
oh yeah,
I totally. I mean, that's. I get that criticism a lot in my research. Why don't you do a timelier game? Says some of my professors, who I mean, I
I
can't
think
fault them for that because the thing is, in engineering, you have to be super timely. If it's like 2012, it's already too old. You know what I mean? Like, but a
yeah.
game as something that you can analyze that like just because it was released on a different platform or because it's this many years old doesn't mean that you can't revisit it for research, especially my kind of research.
You know what?
So
With
yeah,
your thing, like, I think it's also just kind of like, just with other media, it's kind of hard to evaluate something in the in the larger picture, where it fits in that whole medium, when it's just recent.
yeah,
Like if a new movie comes out tomorrow, and everybody's like, oh, this is one of the best movies ever made, or something like that. It's
yeah,
kind of hard to make that judgment if you don't
yeah.
have that. There was a time where people thought that, like, Forrest Gump was one of the best movies ever made, and it won Best Picture and stuff. But I don't think in the grand scheme of things it's one of the best movies ever made. I still like it.
Well,
you know
history works that way too. It's like
yeah,
who was the good president? We won't really know that until a few presidents down the
yeah,
line, at
yeah,
least.
yeah.
Like,
I mean,
um,
yeah, you can have a current opinion on it, but to, like, what you're doing with your studying, where it fits, kind of like in the whole medium, like where does this narrative, what is this? Like,
mhm, exactly.
you can't do that on a game that just came out 2 weeks ago. Like, it's
Right.
kind of
So,
hard.
like, I mean, I'm just like, I mean, I guess we could get timely now and just say, for example, Destiny. I don't know. This game could go in a lot of different. It already is going a lot of different directions, but
Yeah,
the significance of Destiny is still super unknown. Like,
yeah,
as a quick reference to Soundgarden, the album, like, yeah, but like Destiny, it could go any which way. There, it seems to have a lot of good and bad things going for it right now.
yeah.
Now, I will also
Speaking of
preference with it.
narrative in games,
I've not played it yet, just
that's
so I
a
can put that out
well,
there. Yeah.
that's a game that doesn't have much narrative.
I saw a meme this morning that indicated as much. It said something like,
Yeah.
well, at least it's a better story than Twilight. Oh, never mind, it isn't, or something like it. I was thinking,
Well,
wow, that's quite
the
an
thing with
indictment.
Destiny, granted, I haven't played it outside of like the beta and stuff, but you know, the reaction to it, and also talking with John, who's actually played all the way through. I mean, he doesn't. He's not going on because it's an online game, so it's just endless anyway. But
Hmm.
playing through the quote unquote single player story or whatever that is, the story content. It's very obtuse or obscure kind of story, and it's weird because a lot of it is also like the lore. You know, when you play Mass Effect, and then there's like you have like a whole, I forgot what they call it, the encyclopedia or whatever.
Codex or
Yeah, the
something.
codex, right? You can
Yeah.
go through that. There's a lot of games with that. It's Dragon Age has that and stuff like that. A lot of the lore is located. You have to go through their phone app or their website to read that. You collect cards in the game, right? These grimoire cards, I think, and they unlock these things, but you have to go access it somewhere else, not
Okay.
in the game. And it's just
That's
like,
interesting.
what is this?
So it's kind of like a tedious thing. Like I gotta actually go on my other device now to check
Well,
out if I was
yeah.
curious enough in the first place.
I mean, I don't know. It just seems. I mean, I don't have any inside knowledge on it. I know one person through a friend of a friend who actually worked in. I mean, who actually talked to, who worked on the game, but he wouldn't tell me actual things, of course, and things like that. And if he did, I wouldn't reveal them or anything. So I don't
Right,
have
right.
any real inside knowledge of like how the process is. But it really feels like, that it's a game that was maybe changed a lot of times in the course of making it, and at some point they were like, we got to get this out the door so we can actually have a product to sell, because at some point you have to sell it, because you just can't be working on a game forever like Duke Nukem.
No, you cannot. Yeah.
Yeah, so at some point you actually have to have a game that's put out.
Oh, like the game Titan that no one knows anything about.
Yeah, that never actually came out, but
Yeah.
Blizzard has so much oodles and oodles of money they could do that. But
Blizzard's ready to buy their own country.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Like oh,
it,
you go ahead, go ahead.
it but it's one of those things where it's just, I think it just changed too much, and there was too many hands, and probably like you said, like there was very good individuals having ideas, but you have you have a marketing guy and you have a sales guy going like, well, this tested better, and like it'd be really cool if we had the story in an app, because then we could sell people on the app, and then we could get more
Yep.
exposure, and
I
we could
can
get
see
more
that
people.
happening, especially with the
Yeah,
way this is constructed. It's just basically like the marketing people are
yeah.
basically like, no, 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 we make this go viral by like, having this separate campaign that you have to do the website thing for. It's more multimedia. It's kind of the new thing, you know.
Because
And I can see it working in some fashion, but
yeah.
I don't know how.
Because yeah, if you read any of the reviews of the game, even the negative ones or the kind of middling reviews, the mixed reactions to it, everybody's almost apologizing for having a bad reaction to this game, because
Oh, yeah.
I
Why
think
is that though?
because one, I think that everybody expected this to just blow everything away, right? If there was gonna be a game that would be a cultural phenomenon like World of Warcraft
World of
or
Warcraft.
Half Life or Call of Duty or whatever, Counter Strike, Minecraft, anything like that. Halo. If there's going to be a game that's going to do it, this was going to be the next one that would do it. And if you read any of the reviews, all of them always stress that, like, actually, playing the game is fine. Like, the mechanics are great, the graphics look awesome. It's just like, but there's kind of nothing there. Like, you do these missions and stuff, and they can be fun, but there's kind of no reason why you're doing them, or there's no reason other than getting loot or something like that. And for that to be in a Bungie game seems kind of weird, because I mean, you can have different reactions to Halo or something like that, or even the story of Halo, but at least they had like a reason why you were doing something. Whether or not you like those reasons or the storyline, that's different. But there was at
There was a
least,
reason. Yeah,
yeah,
there was a context behind it.
there's a context behind it, and it feels like in this game that there's not much context.
Interesting.
And
Man, that means I'm gonna have to play Destiny now. Damn it. Like there's a personally, I just have this thing where if everyone's buzzing about a game, I tend to not want to play that game for some reason.
yeah,
Maybe that's just me being a prick. I don't know. Like,
well, I
or
mean,
like
some of
like
it is
even back in high
also,
school, like when I was watching you and Darnell play like Final Fantasy VII,
yeah,
for
yeah,
example, right? I just waited for you guys to play through it, and I only got into it like way later. You know,
Yeah.
like
I'm
I
like
was
that
just
with
yeah.
certain things because I kind of don't want to have my opinion clouded by, kind of like fanaticism about it.
It's yeah, because even at a subconscious level, it's easy to kind of get caught up in the fanaticism
Oh
of it.
yeah,
Like Limp Bizkit.
the summer of
That's like my
white rap.
example from now on.
The
Yeah.
summer of white rap. But I mean, yeah, it's one of those things. But going back to infinite lives and everything and time management,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
one of those things where it's just like there's only so many hours in the day, and you have a full time job. You also want to have a social life, and you also want to play games for fun because we're not getting paid for this or anything. So there's if we would get some kind of crowdfunding going or something, like I don't feel like we have a good way to spend that money. Like we could spend that money, we could get like better equipment, or make some dedicated like computer that's really good at streaming stuff or something like that, or
Okay, I see what you mean. Like, yeah, this is the meat, like the how do you call it?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I get it. The podcast computer. Okay.
yeah, or something, or something. But I feel like we already have a lot of the stuff that we need. you
Mhm.
know uh we
Kevin just soundproofed, or he's in the
Yeah,
middle of
he's
it.
in the middle of it. It smells weird out in the living room because
Yeah, I saw some of his Facebook updates. It
yeah,
sounds like he's having quite a time doing that.
yeah, but
Oof.
it's a hobby for him, so he likes doing that. Like if it wasn't that, he'd be making something for the backyard garden or something, because he made a greenhouse like a couple years ago and everything. So if it wasn't that, he'd be making something. So this is hobby expenses for him. But we could have probably maybe crowdfunded that, but
No,
I
no,
don't
it's
know.
cool. No, I see what you're saying. It's kind of
Yeah.
like there's no need for you to draw on that kind of funding yet.
I don't know what to do with that money. What
Yeah,
you're doing is kind of cool, and that might be like something that maybe we could finance, like a trip to PAX East or something, or
yeah.
GDC or something like that. Like
I
that
think
that that might be something. I don't know.
GDC is pretty hard because the expenses involved in attending are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, I think you guys would have a lot of fun there. Don't get me wrong, but like, I actually don't know how normal people attend that thing.
Yeah.
Uh, the only reason I've been able to attend it the last 2 years is because my professors have um, they just seem to have a lot of funding that they want to spend how they want to spend it, and they trust me to do that. So they've
Mm-hmm.
been able to send me the last 2 years. But seriously, round trip ticket from Japan to San Francisco, 5 nights, plus the cost of admittance is around 6,000 US total.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Um, but my brain is scheming for infinite lives. And what I'm thinking is, yeah, you guys don't have to do a crowdfunding because right now you guys are pretty set and you're like in things are going pretty sustainably for you guys right now in terms of what you can do. But you're right, crowdfunding a trip might work.
Yeah. And I think a lot of where I always get this question is like, oh, are you guys gonna you guys should get like some sponsors or something. You should do this, or stuff like that. We don't even have a business license or anything, and I'm okay taking it very slow because I feel like we're still trying to be good at what we do.
Yeah.
Because we always get compliments. It's totally awesome. Like I totally my mom even emailed me and it's like, I really liked your interviews and stuff. It's like, okay, cool, right? That's awesome. Like and whenever I talk to people, they're like, oh, that was really fun and everything. But I feel like there's a couple steps that we can take still, because when I look at other people that are doing the same things that we are, there are some people that are around our same level of expertise, but there are some people that are significantly better, especially on the mic, um, you know, uh, kind of talking,
Yeah.
yeah, stuff like that. So I think you can tell from our podcast that we're definitely better than we were 2 years ago, and
It's
from
been 2 years already.
it's going to be 2 years on
Damn.
October
What
something.
the hell? Are you serious? I thought it was like 1 year. Oh
No, we
my God.
started 2012
Holy
October.
shnikes. Oh my God.
We started
Wow.
October, and that was because I got a microphone for John for his birthday, and I was like, we should do this. And he was like, sure, whatever. And then so we just did it, and it was like the most like
Now you guys have a whole commercial.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh my God, it's been 2 years.
yeah. So
Oh,
I
where have
mean,
I been?
we're taking baby steps. Like PAX was a big step because
In your
there was a
first
lot.
year, you guys became friends with Mega Ran.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, that's humongous.
yeah. I have to follow up with him on an interview. We were supposed to do something before PAX, but he got too
See,
busy,
like
and
three
he's
years
like
ago,
super
if I
busy now.
went back in time and told you that this is what you told me yesterday, seriously, I need to follow up with Mega Ran, who's our friend.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean, he's a cool guy. I mean, it's cool that he makes time. It's cool actually that a lot of people make time. That
mhm,
almost everybody that I've ever emailed and said like, hey, can I do something with you, like, interview you or whatever, or put you on our podcast or something, just talk with you about games. I think almost everybody outside of maybe one or two people that I've ever contacted have said, yeah, sure, okay. you know
cool.
I mean, and
Yeah,
those
this is
and those people, it wasn't like lack of trying. It was just just didn't work out, or they were not interested, and that's totally fine.
right. I mean, well, for I think it just the way that these things go, I gather that's a very good success rate. So yeah, I hope that that continues to go in your favor because
Yeah,
I really think that I mean I it's funny because obviously you guys never talk about your real life jobs or anything. So except like from what I know about you guys on Facebook and stuff, but
yeah, yeah,
like so of course my image of like Infinite Lives is like, oh, you guys could really take off with this and do more. Of course, we all want you to do more. Like, but yeah, the
yeah,
reality of it is you guys are all working.
yeah.
So yeah,
I mean,
he's got a jab.
we're kind of a good spot. I feel like we're a couple steps away from doing something, like we just need something to kind of it's just a lot of it is also practice. It's just you just
Mhm.
get better at what you do
Yep,
and
yep, yep.
things. And
That's how it
there's
goes.
a lot of stuff that we're not even sure what we want to do or what our voice is, because we actually when I first started it was like, we're never really going to write anything, like this is all going to be video and podcasts and stuff. But there was an interest in within the party that like we should write some stuff, that'd be kind of cool. And then so we kind of started doing some of these things, and we're probably do a couple more and stuff and keep doing
Mhm.
that. So it was, yeah, I kind of started, one of the first things I ever said about this thing was that we'll never have reviews of a game. But
Well,
John's writing reviews and stuff. He's writing a Destiny thing right now. So
that's
that's
okay. That's
yeah, yeah,
completely
that's
fine.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just more like, that's just an example of like, I'm not even sure what this is. Even at this date, we're just kind of playing it by ear and seeing what
I
works.
find that sometimes like it's with meaningful projects, it's kind of hard to ever really know what it is, you know.
Of
But I
course.
think the important thing is to know what you guys are getting all out of it
Yeah.
is probably the more important thing.
Yeah, I've always said
Uh,
that the minute that this isn't fun or
yeah.
enjoyable, then that's we got to shut it
Mhm.
down.
You
If
know,
we start
coincidentally,
really,
I told the same thing to my group too. I said
yeah,
like if any of you guys at any point this becomes like a chore,
yeah,
you know, and not a fun thing to do, it's something you don't want to be involved in anymore, just let us know.
yeah.
You know, it's completely cool. Like this, that's just how life is, you know.
I mean, you know, if we were getting paid and this is my livelihood, I would be able to fight through. Like, if I was really having a poor time, I'd be like, well, at least I needed to pay rent. I needed to pay bills and stuff like that. But if we're not getting paid, like, you shouldn't be doing something that you don't want to be doing. This is basically volunteer work.
Yeah, it
And
is.
if you don't
Yeah.
like doing it, then you should go. And yeah, if we ever get to the point where we're just quarreling about stuff, um, outside of like, I can't believe that person likes that game. Like, it's weird. I think the other members. I'll just speak from my personal preference. The other members really like doing that game of the year thing, or at least I think they do. We do this in December. We talk
Okay.
about the games that we like of the year, and we try to get a top 10 kind of thing, right? Like every
Yeah.
other website does and stuff. And I actually kind of don't like doing it because, um, like it opens up a lot of like bad arguments where we're just like, well, you got a game on the list, and like I don't have anything, and like Jesus Christ, like I can't believe
Oh,
you
so
like
it
that
turns
game.
into grade school.
Oh yeah, it's
Oh,
totally bad, and that's kind of the point of having that discussion, because that's
it's
kind of fun
funny.
to listen to,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
it's we're talking about inconsequential stuff. But I'm such like a like, hey, we should just get along kind of guy that like I don't like the open conflict sometimes, but
Gotcha.
yeah, it's important to do, so we should probably do
It's
it.
important to do is like actually coincidentally, this is I mean it's similar, but it's not the same. But I'm in the process of talking with some other PhD game studies guys, and we're trying to come up with some parameters and rules to create what we're tentatively calling quote unquote the list. We're
Mm.
trying to create a canonical list of games that have substance that can either be taught in classes as part of a game design course or a game studies course. And what I mean by the two of those differences is that game design is obviously for curriculum around how to design games or games that are good examples of certain kinds of good design or bad design, why they function or don't. And game studies is more my field where it's like we're looking at the sort of like content and meaning and deciphering of these texts. So despite how boring it was when we were in school, I want to make one of those Norton anthologies of video games. Like,
Yeah,
these are the games that are important for some reason. Some old guys said so, so everyone's got to read it, kind of thing, you know?
yeah,
Like,
that's really hard, man, because
it's hard. It's hard.
I mean, I've it's
We get
maybe
into
it's
the
not
same
as
things as you
yeah,
guys. Like, basically, it's like, why does this go down the list and this other thing doesn't?
yeah,
Because you said this. It's like, well, I mean, we're not bickering right now, but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
definitely we're exchanging notes and paragraphs on
yeah.
Google Drive. And what's interesting is that we got stuck on Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past
You
because all of us agree that it should be on the list, but we cannot figure out why.
so
Like,
the people who are doing this list are the four on your in your group in
actually,
your
they're
cabal.
not involved yet. I'm
Okay.
just dealing because even though Thomas is a games researcher, he's not. How do I say? He's not a part of he's more like tangential learning in games, whereas I
Mm,
recruited some other guys that are dealing specifically with narrative and
yeah, yeah,
like semiotics in games and stuff. So it's a little bit more, I don't know how you call it, academically rigorous.
yeah. So
Yeah, because
do you have a variety of people from different areas of the world? Because
that's a good
if you don't
question.
have a European, you should have a European in
Well,
there,
I got well
because
the main my main partner is this guy Thomas. Or Tomas.
yeah,
He's from University of Barcelona, so he's
yeah,
Spanish.
yeah, you should definitely have somebody from Europe, especially like
Why do you say that though? That's interesting.
because okay, so the cultures of what people grew up with games are very different from region to region, and that's
Yeah,
just because of what was available, what
yeah, that's
systems
right.
were available, like
Yeah, the
you know
Europeans really suffered on the RPG front.
yeah, and then also the Europeans really liked the Mega Drive, and so did the Brazilians,
Yep, yep.
because the Super Nintendo wasn't as widely available, and especially like in Germany, it, there's not that much actual console gaming. There's a lot of PC gaming, and they play a lot of different kind of games than we do. Like they play a lot of they have whole franchises that are only really popular in Germany that
Yeah, yeah.
don't really penetrate anywhere else, like the Settlers and what is it, like 1408 AD or something like that. There's a couple like franchises that nobody else plays. Like I played some of them, and then occasionally you'll know that some
Well,
people played it,
I
but
mean,
it's
I
like
wanna,
massively popular there.
yeah, no, I wanna give a nod to. It's kind of hard to get global at this
Of
point
course, yeah,
because, yeah, like, what I didn't think about what you're proposing
yeah,
originally. What I was just trying to do was I just got my own contacts, whoever I knew who
mm-hmm.
happened to be in this sort of field, and they coincidentally also happen to one is from Spain, another guy's from Canada, so that's North America. I'm obviously also reflective of North America,
Yeah,
and I have a Japanese guy,
yeah,
so that's about as global as we can get at this point. But the
yeah,
problem is that So, for example, like if we're going by the Norton model, like which we probably won't in the end, but I mean, just if we're basing it on something, the Norton anthologies were all sort of like
Yeah,
regional.
it's only
But that's
just
also
Western
because like all of
literature.
this stuff was developed before the internet,
Of course.
like so nowadays it's really hard. Like if you try to do a Norton anthology of great internet something, that's
Yeah,
just gonna be fucked up crazy
yeah,
because like that's the whole world participating in this conversation like in real time now.
yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
I brought that up not to be like, oh, this is,
you gotta have it. I
you
know,
gotta
like,
have it.
but I mean,
But
like
it's more
you're
kind
right
of
though.
like there's,
Like you,
like to try
yeah.
to be like these are the games that are influential, but it's very very region specific. Even nowadays, like it's still very region specific. Like, I mean, like Eastern Europe and Russia are like almost a different
Or
market.
even the Middle East. Like you hear about
Yeah,
that game in the Middle East where they made like an Arab version of Call of Duty.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's gonna be a whole different story too. I don't
yeah,
have any. Um, I've not met any like anybody from that region who's studying games actually.
yeah. I don't know.
Oh, but yeah, I mean it's a concern that I actually didn't think about it until
Yeah,
you brought it up. It's just
like
basically
even
like
yeah, Eastern Europe is even like a different kind of market than Western Europe. Like even just like the games that they like. I mean, some things are always universal and stuff like that, but like a lot of the genres are very popular in different regions and everything.
well the
I
hard
mean,
part too
even
is
just
I
in
think like
Asia, I mean, Korea,
more
Japan, and
yeah.
China just,
Well, of course, like like all of those, that's like East Asia is a whole different beast. Like, I
yeah,
mean, just me being out here for the number of years that I've been out here, just being able to see the way that certain kind of games are, again, as you said, it goes back to what markets where.
hmm,
And unlike literature, and other forms of art or film, well, maybe film less so, but it's kind of that like literature didn't have so much of that marketing concern, not as much as games or film,
yeah,
in a certain region. Oh, like for example, Iron Man 3 gets like Chinese actors in some parts for extra scenes because it's China, even though everyone
yeah,
hated even the Chinese. Um, but before we get to that, it's kind of like, as you said, there are certain things that are universal, but what are those global universal things? I think that's what we need to get at first
yeah. Like Shakespeare plays
because
everywhere, right? I mean,
somehow, yeah, I don't. That's the thing. That's my field, and I still don't understand how that works.
yeah.
like,
Like
but it's one of those things
Shakespeare
that
plays
like
everywhere.
but it's
Um,
like one of those things that like maybe as with a lot of subjective art things, in answering it, do you kill it? You know what I mean? Like
hmm,
maybe this is one of those things that really cannot be answered. And that's like the inherent function of it is to
yeah,
remain the sort of like historical mystery so that further research can be done on it, where
hmm,
further conjecture can be done on it. Um, I got the recent comment on my paper that I'm submitting at Michigan. They basically said, the author, referring to me, they were saying the author continues to talk. I'm very wary about the tone they take about addressing ludonarrative dissonance in games. They address it as if it's a problem that needs to be remedied. Whereas I would like to conjecture that maybe this is just an inherent function of games, stories in games, and that it's not something that can be solved necessarily, but something that should be made aware of on different design levels. And I had not thought about that until that point. I'm over there trying to engineer the fuck out of the problem, you know? And the guy's just like, hold on. Maybe it's just that oil and water don't mix. But actually, when I use that analogy, I'm thinking
yeah,
of emulsifiers. So anyway, shut up, Chris. Yeah, so you get it. I mean, like
yeah, yeah.
there are certain mysteries that I want to give respect to that should remain mysteries, but it's hard to say if it's a mystery without looking like you academically gave up. I don't know if
That's
that
true.
makes sense.
I mean,
But anyway, that's my problem. So
it's just it's a
yeah.
thing that's always it always intrigues me about the different. I mean, just like with anything in life, the differences of like the happenstance of where we grew up and the culture we grew up, and also the intersection of like the similarities of what we do like or the same experiences whereas whenever I interview people I always ask the same one
Oh,
question is
what are
always the
your big
same.
game
Yeah,
influences?
what's your origin of gaming and things like that. And the reason why I do that is because um, most people that I have made friends with since I have graduated high school has been because of video games. Almost 95% of people that I've ever been friends with is because we share a common like of video games or some kind of tangential relationship between that. And these are people that have very different backgrounds than me, have grown up in different areas with different socioeconomic factors and things like that. And there is a wide variety of experiences, but there's also a lot of very big overlap. And as most of the people I talk to are from North America and stuff like that, so hopefully at some point I can kind of branch out a little bit more. We did have an interview at PAX with a guy, some people from a couple French guys that were making some indie games and everything, and so it was pretty interesting just to hear them talk about freaking Gargoyle's Quest and stuff. And I was just like, wow, that's crazy. Like, that's literally the same game that I remember playing on my Game Boy. Well, no, I didn't have a Game Boy, on my friend's Game Boy and stuff like that. So yeah, it always intrigues me where things intersect and where they don't, and why they don't intersect. Like, well, why were you into this one kind of game? And I've never heard of this before.
Well, the German thing you brought up is definitely one of those reasons. They're into certain kinds of games because they just didn't have a whole lot of
because they're fucking German.
They didn't export like a lot of the JRPGs out there.
Yeah,
like I have a German friend who he used to just like get them. I forgot how he got them actually, but he just said it was such a chore to get these JRPGs because you had to do all these weird like I don't know like spy ways of doing it and stuff. Another thing I kind of thought of when you were talking about all that was that basically, you disappear to the Philippines every summer, and then come back with all these damn games.
Yeah,
I
have on that. I have a couple ideas of what to do while I'm there this December.
Oh, you're going December? Good. Okay.
Yeah, I'm lining up. Well, I have one thing lined up and hopefully a couple other things.
Can I put you in touch with Jobert Yu, who's the guy who's in charge of the...
Yes.
You saw the link this morning.
Yes, I saw the link, and I was surprised and
I can put you in touch with this man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I would like to talk
I will.
to him.
Yeah, please do, because I think I see a lot of good coming out both ways for him and you. And Infinite Lives basically having collaboration of this kind of sort. Plus, it'll sort of help you get a little more insight into the whole intersection thing with the Philippines or Southeast Asia and North America, whatever.
Yeah.
And Jobert is always looking for opportunities to sort of branch out to sort of expand the Philippine gaming culture awareness to the rest of the world, because I don't really know. It's hard for me to say because I know you and I know him, so I'm a little bit more aware of the Philippine game things.
Yeah, I was more than surprised when I saw that on your Facebook. We're talking about, what is it called?
This is called the Philippine Game Festival, which is occurring from
this week.
Yeah, it's October 3rd to 4th at I'm gonna screw up the pronunciation because I'm a big Filipino.
Pasay City in
Thank
the
you.
Mall of Asia, I believe. I think. Or the SMX Convention Center. I think that's in the Mall of Asia. Anyway, but I was very surprised. It's funny that they have an American Nintendo controller on their logo.
Oh, it's Famicom. The Famicom was the Philippine thing then.
Yeah.
The red one.
Yeah, they had well, they also had pirated versions of the Nintendo console. My first Nintendo console was called Nintendo Power.
Magazine.
It played.
You played the magazine.
Yeah, it actually had that logo, the magazine logo, and it played Famicom. It played Famicom cartridges.
I just sent you Jobert's Facebook page. Go ahead and you can send him a friend request and then just introduce yourself if you want. And I definitely, if you guys have a chance, talk over email, Facebook, whatever. I think it'll be super. Like I actually, when I put the link up, in fact, I was thinking, how come these guys don't know each other? They should know each other.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was very surprised because I haven't really heard. Again, I'm not very close to that scene. I only visit there for family, and every couple of years or so I don't know that scene so well. But I've never heard about the Filipino gaming scene like
I think
here.
well, Jobert's been. Oh, okay.
So I haven't heard it. At least the news hasn't made it across to the U.S. or the sites that I pay attention to. So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
would be very interesting to know what's going on there. What's are people making games? Because I know that there's a gaming culture there.
There's a gaming culture. Yeah.
Because I've been a part of it. Um,
Well, they're definitely
I
well. The
used
big things in Philippines is what Dota and
yeah,
League of
Dota,
Legends must be
League of
pretty huge.
Legends. There was a time when Counter Strike was a big thing,
Uh,
and I think also StarCraft. It's usually like what Asia plays
yeah, yeah.
mixed in with some US stuff, I would think.
And that's funny because all of the games I would play, like that were internet games, I never met any Filipino players except in Second Life, and
I met
like,
I met a there was a guy on I was playing Dota 2 a couple well I play that every night, but I was playing that a couple like months ago, and on our team on voice chat there was a Filipino guy, and I knew he was a Filipino guy just from the accent
accent,
and
yeah.
from and he would throw in an occasional Tagalog word and everything, and I was like, man, this is the most Filipino guy I've ever met. Like he was, I don't know if he was just playing it up for the camera, but he was, or whatever for the
Also,
game.
he was like super Filipino.
Yeah, yeah, like everything was like all like like if it was a stereotype, he was playing the stereotype. Anyway, I thought that was hilarious because I was just like, pfft. I was laughing at all of his jokes because I could understand half of the words and stuff. So it was kind of funny. But yeah, I used to game a lot in there, like arcades. Most of my games were bought there. I used to go to all the stores. Like I knew like where certain stores that I liked were at, like in the Vera Mall, the
Was that the
place.
Pirate Mall?
Yeah, Pirate Mall, where you had the thing on your head.
Oh God, that was the time I wandered into the set of Bloodsport 4. Jeez, did we have we told this story publicly or?
I don't think so. You should tell that story.
Okay, real quick, so I don't derail Dan's train of thought here. So I went, I went to visit Dan in the Philippines back in 2004, like 2004 Christmas, 2005 New Year's. So like that span of time. During that time, sadly, I got sick because of my weak American physiology, and so I had a fever. So I had like this cool pad on my head and on
To
my
keep it
forehead, and I was
cool.
walking around everywhere like that. And dumbass me, I don't bring my PlayStation to the Philippines, so they can't. Well, I shouldn't announce this shit publicly. Okay, never. Anyway, so we're at
Yeah.
this mall, near a mall, where there's just a ton of games that like I can't buy, and then like
Here, I'll describe
and
Vera Mall. Vera Mall is attached to a bigger mall that's called Green Hills, but Vera Mall is renowned for being the place to buy pirated things, or if you want something modified, like now a lot of that space that used to be PlayStations and stuff, a lot of it is iPhones, like unlocking of iPhones or cell phones and
oh,
stuff like that.
okay,
Like they used to sell a lot of pirated movies there until they kind of cracked down on that a little bit. And but it's also there's also legit stores there.
really?
Yeah, I mean, varying levels of legit, but there's also, like anime stuff, you can find manga stuff.
Oh man, I
Like
bought so much anime stuff.
yeah, anything
God,
related to some kind of technology, whether tangentially or directly related, you can find at Vera Mall at a pretty good price that you can kind of haggle about. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's basically it looks like Blade Runner, like a crowded Blade Runner thing. Like everything is super cramped. There's like a billion people in there,
yeah, yeah, it's
and
true, it's true.
yeah, it feels like you can make some kind of shady like shadow run deal in the alleyways or something.
God, I think that's what I happened on. I don't know what I looked
Okay,
at, but
okay, go again,
yeah,
go
yeah,
again.
yeah. So it's exactly like Dan was saying. And so Dan's like, in this one store buying up all these games, and his dad's with us too. And I'm just watching him buy these games because I can't play any of these games on my system, sadly. But I was just kind of like, oh, I mean, maybe I'll get this, whatever. I don't know what I'm thinking because I'm delirious and feverish. So I gotta go take a whiz. So I asked Dan's dad. I was like, "Hey, where's the bathroom around here?" And your dad just said, "Oh yeah, just go down this hallway at the end." And I said, "Okay."
Which is a
So
very Filipino father way of of explaining things. It's over there, probably.
I don't know. I just assumed that, like, yeah, you've been here before. You know exactly where the bathroom is. So, I walk down the hall. It's getting darker and darker, less and less people. I'm just continuing. It's getting dirtier. Um, then it's so dark now that like there's a light coming out from a door that's on the right, and it's like the only way to go. It's like the only thing that's open. So I'm thinking this must be the bathroom. So I round the corner and I look inside that room, and it's just a bunch of guys in wife beater like tank tops, like all gathered around a table, standing with one light hanging from the ceiling in the top. And they all turn around and look at me at the same time with this look like, "What? Who the fuck are you?" And I've got this thing on my head, this like full pad on my head, and I look at them, and I was like, my first instinct is explain yourself, and then my second instinct kicks in and says, "Just leave." So I just turned around and walked as fast as I could out of there without running to like trigger the chase response. I get back to the store where Dan and his dad are, with a full bladder, and then your dad was like, "Did you find the bathroom?" I was like, "No, but it's okay. I'll just hold it. I'll hold it till when we get back." It
was great if when you
sport, man.
What was great is if you left like as soon as you left through the door, somebody was like, "Did he want to know where the bathroom was?"
Like, yeah, maybe they were all watching, like Korean drama. Maybe they weren't as hardcore as I thought. I don't know. But they certainly looked like they could kill me.
Yeah, there's probably some kind of game going on, some kind of gambling, maybe.
Yeah, I remember that. Like,
I'm assuming
a lot of I bought like all of Gundam Seed and like all of Futurama, and like most of it didn't work in the DVD player you had at your house.
Oh yeah.
So we went back with the driver Ronald, and then like, don't worry, Chris. Ronald will talk to them about it, and he starts talking to them. And like, of course, in Tagalog, and I don't understand it.
Yeah.
And like, then the store owner starts to look really panicked, and Ronald looks like he's pressing into him for something. And I was like, this is looking not good. So I talked to Dan on the side in English. I go, "Dan, are we all right?" And then you paused. You didn't say anything for a while. You were looking at them, and then you were like, "The main thing is, if Ronald runs, then we run." And I was like, "What the fuck is this, Mad Max world? My God!" Like, I don't know. I'm from Japan.
Yeah. I basically assumed that if our driver is worried, then we should be worried because he's probably he's from the streets. He knows the score. He knows the score. And if anything happens, we just play up the fact that we have that we know somebody and that we're rich, and hopefully people will just let us go.
God, we know somebody we're rich, so hold him for ransom. Yeah. Like, I just remember the next thing that happened was the stoner stood up, he started walking, Ronald walked after him and gestured for us to follow him.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I was
we
just
went
like,
all the way into that mall.
and it was like we're going into like the back parts of the mall, and I was thinking, we're gonna die. We're gonna die.
I'm gonna die for Futurama.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna die for Futurama. And then he takes us to this other place in the mall. And he's just like, "Oh, you have to get one of these machines." Oh, all right.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah. And sure enough, yeah, it worked.
And it worked. And that
then we
DVD
each bought
player
one.
lasted me for like, God, I got it in 2004. I think conked out finally in 2009. So like 5
really?
years of like complete. That was the best DVD player I've ever had.
Yeah, it was pretty good. American
plays
Home.
Anything. It even played like MPEGs on a CD. Like, I was amazed.
It was the American Home brand.
Yeah, that's right.
I still have
American Home brand. Dude, freaking thing is not even from America, man.
Yeah.
Oh, good times. Good times.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, but like your mom said, next time, don't get sick. You. I was like, yeah, no, you're right, Mom. Yeah, no, so it kind of sucked. I got super sick like for those 2 weeks that I was in the Philippines.
Oh,
like,
yeah, you're in various stages of like, I'm okay right now, and then suddenly,
and then it was
I'm
like
terrible.
I remember because it was like, I'm okay, and then Dan was like, "You gotta go check out where was it? We went to some campus that was near where your parents were living. It was like a university.
Ateneo.
Okay, so yeah, we went to Ateneo. just to hang out. And I was like, fine. And then we got to Ateneo, and I was like feeling sick and watching two people get married. Like there was like two people getting married right then and
Yeah, I
there.
think so.
And we were like looking at them joking around, and I started feeling sick again. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
what the hell's wrong with you, Chris? And then like I think you got food, like a little bit of food poisoning on Christmas or something.
Yeah, Christmas is
That was
pretty
when we
bad.
met. When you introduced me to Allah, and she was carrying a krang. Remember?
Yes, yeah, for
Like
her
she
costume
had
that she
intended
had
to make
for
the whole costume of krang, but she didn't have time, so she just made the brain.
yeah.
Like, she was carrying the brain around.
Yes. Um yeah, and it's funny cuz we didn't even talk about like half of the stuff I wanted to talk
My
about.
bad.
But
This is my bad.
I didn't have any paper, I didn't have anything written down, so it's totally fine. We'll talk about
Yeah, yeah,
your
no, cool. But you know what? I hope that well, we get, I can gather up the troops, and then we all five of us or four of us, sorry, all four of us can talk to you guys again in the future. And I want to write for you guys too.
yeah.
I wanna get some articles in for the Infinite Lives and stuff. So
Well, it's fine. We'll
um,
leave stuff for next time anyway. Because I kind of want to talk about that game that you've been working on, but that's a whole conversation.
oh my
That's
God,
a whole
I know.
conversation.
Well,
But
that's true too. The other thing too is I need to get my PR department, aka me, to figure out what exactly we're gonna say about it because it's like,
well, I
ew.
mean, whatever you want to say. I'm just gonna ask about it and actually developing like what the experience is.
Oh yeah,
It doesn't
cool.
have
Yeah,
to be like what is the game gonna be? Is it gonna be any good? How much are you gonna sell it for? When is it out? What's the release date?
God, at
Yeah,
this point, I kind of just want to give the game out for free.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, that's like a whole other podcast right there.
All right, cool.
But
Well, yeah, I'll probably check in with you when you come back from Michigan.
yeah, definitely, we'll put it on the books then.
All right.
Yeah, and then I'll be in touch anyway. If you need, well, of course, well, we are in touch anyway. So like, I'll go ahead and I don't know, I'll free write you guys an article, I guess. Anything?
Yeah, anything you want. I mean, yeah, really. I
Okay.
mean, really, whatever. I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be about video games. I mean, we're kind of covering geek culture in the broadest sense with a focus on video games. If you really want to distill it down,
I think what I
because
probably could provide for you guys is like a Japan insider kind of like
yeah,
perspective.
I mean, if you want to talk about Japan, if you want to talk about the academic work, or if you just want to talk about like these are games I'm playing, or this is a
Yep.
certain game experience or whatever,
Yeah, I was thinking about like for the list of stuff I could write for you guys, it'd be like Japan Insider perspective number one. Number two could be like how do you get started in game studies. Number three would be like these are sort of the games that I've been ruminating over
yeah,
from a long time ago. So like I wanted to write an article about Blaster Master. Like
yeah. And if you want to go super weird with it, if you want to be like I'm only talking like in a narrative form about this or whatever, I mean, sure, go ahead. I mean,
oh, actually, I kind of want to.
we
I want
don't
to
we
get started on that Shawshank Redemption idea I had.
yes,
Yeah, but I got to start that soon,
yeah.
otherwise I'm gonna forget.
Yeah, I mean,
Anyway, yeah.
like I said, like we don't know what works until we try it, so we might as well try
Okay.
it since we're
Right on.
so small right now. So,
Yeah, if I can help you guys get your press pass for PAX, that would make me happy.
oh gosh,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be cool. Well, we're gonna try. I'm gonna try at least for maybe E3 or
Oh, that would
something.
be even better because E3 is way expensive.
And I've been to E3 before.
Oh, have you?
I've been to E3 in 2005 under a real business license, but something that was thrown together by making a blog with like 5 posts in it. And me and my friend went in on a thing, and then we went. So I spent all I went to E3 2005. That's when the Nintendo Wii was still called the Revolution, and the Xbox 360 was just out. And it was weird. We somehow scored an invite to a Sony after party, and then Paris Hilton was there.
Wow.
It was weird. It was weird.
That's
And then I
really
was buying
bizarre.
like $14 drinks or something like that. It was just really weird. And then we hired a limo to take us to the airport because that was the cheapest option for whatever reason. And the guy's name was Peter Parker. The limo driver's name was Peter Parker.
So Spider-Man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was like from Eastern Europe or something. Like I think he was Polish or something, and he was basically
Polish
like
Spider-Man.
he was basically like, oh, my name is something else, but everybody likes Spider-Man, so I'm Spider-Man.
So he's Peter Parker.
Yeah.
That
And I was like, that's
I've never heard this story before. I've never heard this. Like,
yeah.
this
Yeah,
is
our
this
E3.
is
I actually was taking around a notepad and acting like I was a journalist. Like
okay.
I was
That works.
asking questions
In
and
case
stuff
someone
like
called you out on it,
that. Yeah,
you was like, "Hey, you random guy,
yeah. Hey, who are
show me
you?
your journalism."
I'm like, here's some pictures that I drew of your game.
Oh, so you're like a police artist, like rendition sketcher or something like that. Like we can't take the photo. That would be great for Kojima. Like whenever Kojima's on stage, he locks the place down. I was actually from my own personal files so I could re-go through his speech again and translate parts just for myself, not to broadcast. I was filming from way far away at TGS, and somebody from Konami found me and shut me down.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that guy's got it on lockdown. Or maybe they were like, maybe Solid Snake was around there, like completely like conning the area. So I don't know. But yeah, anyway, so dude, awesome
Yeah.
stuff.
All right, cool, man. Well, we'll talk to you again soon and stuff.
Yeah,
I'll
thanks,
give
Dan.
this
Really appreciate it.
Jobert,
Yeah, give him a holler. Tell him you said, or just, tell him you're super good friends with me and
tell
that,
him
like
that Chris sent me.
yeah, and plus, you're Filipino, so I mean,
Yeah.
it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris sent me and I'm Filipino. Be my friend.
Yeah, probably the friend request will show up before you even hit send. So
Yeah, definitely. All
right
right.
on.
Cool,
Okay,
man.
Dan. Thanks
All
a lot, man. I appreciate it.
All right. See you, dude.